Hello, good evening, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Blues Down Under with the Mancunian Way. I'm your host, Patrick, and joined by my usual favourite band of colleagues here in the studio. I am joined by, of course, Rich, back again. Good to see you, mate.
Good evening. How are you?
Not too bad, mate. Thank you. Doing all right. I don't know. I'm going to go round table here and just ask, international breaks, do they go slow or do they go quick depending on what you're doing? And does football have anything to do with that?
Well, it's a very depressing international break for me. You know, I was hoping we might get past Bosnia. So, and then, you know, sadly, Northern Ireland and Ireland, who I was also hoping would go okay, didn't do well. So it could have been a great international break, but it was a bit disappointing.
Now you're talking about internationals. I might quickly get it out of the way just at the top of the show anyway, but I don't know. I'm not sure how much it concerns you, but obviously Australia had a nice little win against Cameroon. You know, I mean, any good performance, any performance is a good performance leading up to a World Cup, and it's nice to watch them play and not have to worry too much about qualifying and that. But, I mean, you obviously got to look at what's happening in Europe, and I think tomorrow morning, Turkey, and I think, is it Bosnia or something? Or is it Edin Dzeko's team, I think? Bosnia, I think.
Yeah, they're playing.
Bosnia play Italy.
Yeah.
Scored in the last one.
He got an assist against Wales. He got an assist. He was leaping at the far post, a bit like
a salmon.
2012.
Like a salmon.
At 40 years old, he was leaping up, getting the ball in, heading it across and creating chances. And he doesn't look that old, to be fair. His legs aren't what they were, but, you know, he's still captain.
Do you think
he's going up against Donnarumma.
Hey?
You know what? If he was 7 or 8 years younger, what a player he'd be to have on the bench.
Yeah.
For Haaland, what a player.
Bringing him on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just looking at those fixtures for tomorrow, I believe the one that, from Australia's standpoint, we have to look at is Kosovo against Turkey, which, to be honest, like even the most diehard, you know, obviously I'm expecting Turkey to go through that. And then if they do, that'll be the European team that'll obviously play in the group against Australia. So I thought from the get-go when that draw came out that Turkey were probably going to be the team to beat in these qualifiers. So unless we see anything crazy happen, I think it's pretty safe to say that Turkey's going to be in the same group with Australia and USA and God, I forgot who the other one is. Paraguay. So I'm excited to see what happens anyway, but whatever happens, you know. It's always
I
going to
mean,
be.
they got a win, didn't they? That's
And
the
is Santa Cruz still playing for them? Because he was still playing in the South American leagues at
Yeah.
42.
Was Santa Cruz
42
Paraguay or
years old, he
Peru?
was
I know it starts with P, but I always get two
Paraguay.
mixed up.
I'm sure he's
So it's
Paraguay.
definitely
wasn't
Paraguay.
Paraguay.
he? Yeah. And he was still playing and scoring goals at about, I think he was 41, 42 in playing
You're
in
right, actually, yeah.
one of the leagues in South America.
Which I suppose they could do. I suppose that's probably a good thing about being a South American footballer, because unless you've got a terrible injury history, there's so many competitions that they play in year in, year out that
Unless you've got terrible
you can
injury
play
history.
into your 40s, and I think no, but a lot of
Roque
the time
Santa
you
Cruz
could tell
did
them when
have
you
a
want to play
terrible-
and when you don't.
Yeah.
Roque Santa Cruz did have a terrible injury history. He didn't play more than 10 games for about 5 seasons.
Well, obviously one of those injuries was
That's
home
why
sickness.
he's playing till he is
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, obviously one of those injuries was home sickness, because you must have got better when you got home. So yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Patrick, you'll be very pleased to know that Australia, having had that win, I think that's their first win in 4 friendlies, isn't it? They beat the Cameroon 1-0, and they're currently smashing Curacao. Is it Curacao? 1-0 as well.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just again, I'm putting my feet up because I'm so happy for the first time in what feels like a long time for World Cup qualifiers. Australia isn't, Australian fans aren't chewing their fingernails, with those last qualifiers against a South American team or a Central American team, depending on how the qualifiers go. So it's just nice to know that, if basically we had our plane tickets booked for North America, at least 9 months ago, maybe 12 months ago now. So it's so reassuring. It's just so
I don't
calming.
think it's good. I don't think that's good for Australian football. I think, the way they've gone into the last couple of major tournaments and have been quite, inept. Maybe that's not quite the word, but they haven't looked good. I think when they used to have to play the big teams in really tough knockout games, that set them up for the World Cups and toughened them up and made them.
And the excitement,
possibly, Rich. But I mean, you look at Qatar, and yes, I think we took the momentum of those qualifiers against Peru, which really helped as well. But also, too, I think I've always said this: if you put that same World Cup in Europe, I think we would have struggled. The fact that we played in Qatar and we're used to playing those conditions at least several times a year when they've always got Asia Cup qualifiers, or we play qualifiers for World Cups within division and things like that. We're more familiar with playing those conditions than a lot of other major
but
confederations are around the world.
But when they beat Uruguay and they played Uruguay in those 2 really hard legs, the top team, that set them up for that toughened them up. That showed them they could do it in big games. I don't know that the current Socceroos have that belief in the team that you only get by winning massive knockout games. If you won the Asian Championship and you really went through and beat, Korea, Japan, and won 2 or 3 big games like that, you get it. But in a way, at the moment, I don't think they're battle hardened.
So what you're saying, Rich, is once they get in that group, they're going to hit a wall.
Well, that's what worries me, that the mentality which came from beating Uruguay, and admittedly they had better players playing in higher levels then as well. But I think that sort of game sets you up to be. I think it's one of England's perennial problem for me. Talk about that. Is if you look at England against top teams, if you take the top 5, 6, 7 teams, the Brazils, the Germanys, the Italys, you look at England's record in World Cups, they've won about 1 game against them in about 28 years. And that's because England nearly every year has an easy qualifying group, wins every game in qualifying or draws 1, and then they go into the World Cup, they get through the group with a couple of wins and maybe a draw against someone. But as soon as they go up against the top team, they're just not battle hardened. And I think Australia is like a poor man's England in that England is playing generally at a higher level than Australia. But I think both England and Australia need more really tough games so that when they go up against France or Brazil or Germany, whoever it's going to be, they're used to playing them and they can beat them.
I don't think they want to show the hand, though, did they, these big teams? Against each other. Do you know what I mean? I know you're trying people out.
Dead ball. Hybrid tactics that they're just not going to see on the pitch in like around a 16 World Cup match or something like that. They're just,
I think
everybody's just they're just experimenting, prototyping.
But France have beaten a lot of big teams in recent years. Spain have beaten a lot of big teams. So, you know, in a way, those teams do show their hands every game. I don't, you know, Spain plays the same way every game, and I just, for me, England, you know, that's the worry for me is England will go through the group, they'll beat someone in the last 16, and then suddenly they'll have France or Argentina, wherever it may be in the last 8, and they'll probably lose because it's the first really hard jeopardy game they've had in about 2 years or 3 years.
I'm the same as you, Rich.
Britain,
because these friendlies, who they play, I don't like. I've not been interested in England's friendly games.
Yeah,
because you know that team that's there is not going to be playing.
Yeah, I mean they're not even going to be on the bench. They basically played the players who are a chance of getting on the bench.
Yeah.
Most of them won't even make the bench. So it's
you basically had your B squads and C squads on there.
Yeah. Why bother? There's just no point.
Well, Rich, going back to Australia, and I thought this is also something that's been happening over the last couple of seasons too, is you're seeing a lot of, and we saw this firsthand from that those international breaks we had earlier this season, where Australia played a couple of matches in the United States. I believe one was against Canada and one was against the USA. Obviously big getting matches in the USA, acclimatizing, getting familiar with playing those particular clubs in that part of the world, because it's going to be important in a few months' time. But also, too, we've got quite a lot of players now in that Socceroos squad that are now playing and have been playing in the MLS for quite a few seasons. So I think going forward, that would also be a big factor as well in terms of where you're playing, when you're playing, but also I think just the quality of the MLS as well, too. I think, people laugh a little bit, but it is a big step up for the A-League, and certainly, it may be a little bit of a step down from Europe, but you're playing in the host country. That has to account for something, I think, as well, too.
What hit me was just the lack of excitement that's about in this country. Like you said, we qualified very early, and it's almost been unnewsworthy. So I looked at that stadium attendance. It was just the other night, wasn't it, against Cameroon? Looked at about half empty, which is pretty poor when it's the last.
I blame Homebush for that, mate. I blame Homebush for it.
Homebush. And
if you're going to have matches like that, you have them at the Smurf Bowl at Moore Park. You have them at where CFC play.
Absolutely.
Because they're actually, the dimensions were built with football in mind and rugby.
Yeah, I agree.
Because if you actually do proper dimensions for rugby league, it works perfectly for football.
Yep.
Yeah.
And also too for the infrastructure as well, like right in the middle of the city. Put it at a time where it favors a bit the post work crowd. Put it where it's the Saturday night crowd or Friday night crowd. Don't put it out of Homebush.
I think the other thing,
unless it's a proper competition, which we saw when the Matildas played the World Cup last year, 2 years ago, then don't bother putting it at Homebush.
Yeah,
I'm sure the government's got bills to pay and things like that, because it ain't cheap keeping that Sydney Olympic Park running.
I think a lot of
God knows they charge everybody extortionate fees whenever anything's on there. But if you want to keep the success going, like with the Socceroos, everything from Qatar World Cup, you've got to be more favourable towards the fans, because as soon as the fans are basically disenfranchised or not considered, then you lose interest straight away. Look at what happened. Yeah. Look at what happened after the 2022 World Cup. Everybody on a high after making that round of 16 and actually giving Argentina a bit of a go. And then what does the A-League do? Oh, we've made an agreement with the New South Wales government. The next 5 seasons, all A-League grand finals are going to be hosted in Sydney. So if you're a Perth Glory fan and an Adelaide fan, the two clubs that are most far away from Sydney, you've got to fork hundreds up to thousands of dollars to go and watch your club play in a grand final on the other side of the country.
Do you not think the whole World Cup luster's going? Like, I have a genuine fan. I know a number of Socceroos fans who've been to every World Cup Australia's qualified for in, the last 30 years or whatever, who aren't going because it's the USA. I actually think we've had 3 World Cups on the trot in what I wouldn't consider exciting football countries. You had a World Cup in Russia where modern stadiums,
I think Russia, the Australian fans made the most of what they had.
Yeah, but Brazil, it wasn't a World Cup with the festivals. It was in New Solar Stadium. They'd been built for it. It wasn't. Qatar was just the whole connection with what a World Cup means was gone from Qatar. USA again. It's not for whatever anyone pretends.
To be honest, Rich, it's probably been downhill since 2006. Because Germany was incredible.
Probably,
every fan, Australian, Australian fan, everything. Like you hear the stories about when we beat Japan in Kaiserslautern, and they had something like 30,000 Australians turn up, and there was at least like 5,000 to 10,000 Japanese turn up. And they said there was just footage of people just walking back into town, and the whole place was just gold with Australian shirts and blue with Japanese. They're all arm in arm singing songs, and like that's what we love. That's what we love about the game, and it's like. It just seems to be a bit more separated now. There's nowhere near as much sort of harmony.
Well,
and just
I don't know.
People aren't just appreciating
14
allowed to appreciate what's around them.
Yeah, 14 was Brazil, and that had football magic around it. Even 2010, I think, a World Cup in Africa in a country where people are passionate about, in some ways, the most passionate about football continent on the planet. So they were three real World Cups, even if they weren't the same as Germany. But the last three have been soulless World Cups. Like to me, World Cups when they were in Italy, Italy in 1990 or Spain in 82, Germany 2006, passionate football countries.
So Rich,
every town taken.
Are you looking
over.
forward to the next World Cup? To be honest,
I think the fans are getting
that looks on paper that looks incredible. I mean, you're talking about they have the tournament opener. Which is a shame that it's not there the whole tournament, but they're having that opener in Argentina and Uruguay for Centenario because it's 100 years of World Cups.
Yeah.
But then to move it to Spain, Portugal, and Morocco, I think is fantastic.
Well, mate, in some ways it is.
I can't complain with that. I mean,
you'll have proper games in real football cities. Big squares in the middle of town with the fans outside, probably throwing chairs at each other after time, but outside drinking in a football environment.
Yeah, well,
proper World Cup.
I told you when I went and saw Benfica a couple of seasons ago, I got to the ground 2 hours before kickoff, and the concourse area around the stadium, they got all these vendors that's selling everything from everything. Like they even got vendors that like when you go to the airport and they have those vendors that serve all the wine and stuff like that. They have those set up all around the ground and that too. And they've obviously got like vendors that serve like Portuguese food, like bifana and things like that. And like it's absolutely incredible. But like if that's going to be like that just for club football, imagine what you could possibly see when those countries turn it on for a World Cup. And I just don't know. I just think that as long as the problem with USA is it's been in the spotlight for all the wrong reasons, and football should be distracting everybody from that. But the problem is that too much of what's happening in the States right now is infiltrated that side of football, especially with FIFA. And we're not going to get political on here, but basically that should football should be distracting us from everything that's happening at the host country.
We're going to hear stories about a footballer not being allowed in.
Yep.
Footballer getting arrested, or the family of a footballer being bundled into an ice cart and stuck in some out of town, thing. So we know that. We know that's going to happen.
Yeah. And did you hear about some of the fans from certain countries? I think like Ivory. Well, I don't know if Ivory Coast qualified, but like there was a couple like Cabo Verde and Curacao and a couple of other sort of African countries and that. If fans want to apply for a visa, they're going to have to pay upwards of $15,000 to get in.
Wow. Yeah, and it's and you've got
which I think is absolutely disgusting. They'll probably make players do the same thing. They'll probably make players do the same.
Yeah, but the whole point of a World Cup is that players are there and the fans are there, and the beauty of the World Cup is when you see 700 fans who've travelled from wherever it may be, from Senegal, and they've travelled over, and there's another 1,000 Senegalese who come locally are going, and I just don't think we're going to see that. I think we're going to see a lot of corporate America, and apart from Scotland, whose fans are all going to go because they've been saving up for 25 years to go. I see a lot of fans I know who go to World Cups who are saying, "No, I'm not going to go." It's not. I don't.
Well, I'll give you.
JMC thinks football shouldn't be hosted in the USA. And here's the thing: I'll probably disagree with you because everybody has a right to, attempt to host a World Cup. But I think with everything going on in the USA, I would not be surprised if any of your respective nations, whoever's listening to this, if any of your matches, and if you're going to go watch your team play, your country play, whatever, I hope that you get to see at least one match in Mexico and one match in Canada, because I think that's probably you'll get a more friendly experience in Canada, And I think in Mexico, you'll get the more traditional football experience, especially if you're watching Mexico play it like the Azteca or something like that.
One thing I will agree on
near bucket list sort of thing.
Football was hosted in the USA. The World Cup was there in 1994.
Yeah.
Now, since 1994, England hasn't had a World Cup since '66. England, or even if you say Great Britain and you have a group in Cardiff, you have one in Scotland. The fact that the UK hasn't had the World Cup since '66 and the US gets it twice in 32 years, when professional football originated, the biggest league in the world, everything is there, is an absolute disgrace. Absolute disgrace.
FIFA don't care,
the fact it's not gone back to Italy or it's not gone back to Spain, who are probably, the next, Germany's obviously had it a bit more recently. And France has had it since the US. The fact it hasn't gone back to Italy or Spain, and Spain's getting it next time, fair enough. But it's just wrong. It's just wrong that the US gets it before so many. Argentina, another amazing football country.
Three Olympics, Australia, 3 Olympics before we're ever going to get a World Cup.
Yeah,
it could be 4. For all we know, it could be 4.
Yeah.
We could all be in a pine box before we.
And I think we've got 3 World Cups on the trot that have gone to places that shouldn't have had the World Cup, that have been doing it. 2 of them just bought it in cash. Just Russia and Qatar just bought the World Cup. US bought it with TV ratings and stadia and all that, but it's killing the game, because I think international football's losing its luster because there's too many games. Everyone has a club, and so international football actually, most of the time, it annoys them. And what I find now is that by the time it gets to a quarterfinal, the whole of England will be, or even maybe the last 16, the whole of England will go nuts. And I was there for the final against Spain 3 years ago, and London was mental. Every pub was just so. It was brilliant when you get to the end, but for most teams who aren't going to make it to the last 4 or the final, it's increasingly a damp squib, and international football needs to become a bit more special, which is hard when club football's trying to take over everything.
When do you feel like the last true World Cup was where it was just basically about just the fans and the football? You didn't feel like the spotlight was all on, obviously social media these days has changed and sent it in a different direction, but
it doesn't matter. The culture's there in Europe or South America.
Germany and Brazil and South Africa I quite enjoyed, really.
I think that stretch from Germany hosting the World Cup in 2006 to Brazil in 2014 was sort of like the last big sort of period we had where international football was really
Russia obviously was interesting because England got quite far and stuff, but it was only about the football. It was almost like everything around the game. Whereas going back to Spain and Italy and Germany, it was about the whole festival.
Rich, planet football is what it was. And Germany 2006 was planet football. You're right, Pat. I was in Kaiserslautern the night before the Aussies arrived, and there was about 400 people. It was like Manly on a quiet night. And then 30,000, probably 40
Tuesdays at the Stein.
40,000 Aussies and about 30,000 Japanese turned up. Obviously, not all of them with tickets. I've never seen an atmosphere like it. You couldn't move in that city, and it's a small city. I went to a few other games there, and it was so special. The Germans just laid it on absolutely brilliantly. South Africa, I went to 5 matches, all sellouts. They couldn't have been more welcoming. And then you go, well, if I want to go to Qatar, what's to do in between games? Not much at all.
Some of the Blues I know over in Manchester went for the World Cup, and what they basically did was they booked their trips where they stayed in Dubai, and quite literally would either do a night in Qatar or fly out.
Yeah,
or fly out to Doha to watch the game.
Yeah.
But
well, that's what happens when you're dealing with one of the most corrupt organisations on the planet that are awarding the president of peace a peace prize. there's no cap on resale ticket prices. So you can put your ticket back on resale, no limit on it. And why is that? Because FIFA then will take 15% of the resale price that they've already sold. Mate, it's just beyond the joke.
I'll tell you,
it really is.
Did you see?
Story.
Sorry, you go.
We have a curry club. We go last Thursday. We go curry club the last Thursday in every month, and they're all expats. Got United, Arsenal, Pompey, West Ham, Spurs, and there's a few of us that go. And obviously, the Arsenal lad didn't turn up for obviously.
Pompey Spurs next season will be interesting.
Yeah, no, yeah. Well, the Pompey lad, funny enough, I'm going to tell you,
and Lincoln.
He's bought a package. He's bought a package to see the England games in America. It cost him like 15, 20 grand, right? Yeah. And he went on the site where he purchased everything, so his flights and everything, and they give him a special offer for one of the games. I can't remember which one it was. And I thought, oh, I'll have a look at this, and it was for a corporate box at the England. I can't remember. Was it the first game? I can't remember what game it was. And it was for the corporate box. It was for 20 people in the box. And it was 150 grand.
Wow.
For a corporate box. Work that out between 20 people.
7.5.
It's mad, isn't it? Absolutely mad.
One game.
See, that's not as crazy as I was going to mention, but this is probably going to be a good example of what I think a lot of people are going to have to deal with. And this goes all the way from anybody traveling from the other side of the world, like where we are, to people who live just down the road from a host city or a host stadium of the World Cup. I was looking into I believe it was this weekend. I think was it Brazil played France? I think at Foxborough, the home of the New England Patriots. I don't know if you remember or saw that. But they were talking about, this isn't even about ticket prices. This is about stadium parking. Because, again, anybody who's not too familiar with American sports, they do like to have a thing called tailgating where everybody just sort of drives in. They set up sometimes days in advance and they'll just park outside the stadium. They'll sleep in the cars or RVs or whatever they bring. They'll have drinks, they'll have food. Like, it's a proper big occasion. Like, you make a weekend of it. Now, during the period of the World Cup, FIFA actually takes over the region of those particular stadiums, like the sort of metropolitan area around the ground as well. So they go ahead and they can basically sell their own overinflated prices, not just for matchday tickets, but for parking as well. Now, with this game that they had at Foxborough for Brazil against France, I believe the parking was somewhere around the region of about $50 to $75, depending on what type of vehicle you had. For the World Cup itself, and this is, I think, during the group stages, I think Foxborough hosts about 3 or 4 group stage games. They have, just for a regular car, anything from like a hatchback to a 4-door sedan, or even a 4-wheel drive, it's something like around about $250 just for parking. Wow. If you go to, I think Foxborough is hosting maybe one round of 16 match and maybe one quarterfinal match. If you want to park your RV or like a bigger vehicle, like as I said before, like what Americans like to do, in excess of $1,200 just to park your vehicle there.
That's probably because you'll be sleeping in your car, and all the hotels will be $1,000.
Possibly, but I'm sure you could find a decent hotel in Boston for a lot cheaper than that. And I know it's a bit out of the way from Foxborough, but sorry, I can't justify that.
They're cashing in.
I just can't.
Yeah, that's what I miss about having the work, and also everywhere so far apart in the US that when you have them in Europe, people go and book in a nice little town. When there's a game in Marseille, people were staying all across the, were going up and staying in Nîmes or Montpellier or wherever it is, going and staying there, getting the train down. When they play in Spain, might play in Seville. People stay half an hour around the coast, get somewhere affordable. Hundreds of fans still meet in a beautiful old town, and it's about the country as well as just the football. Whereas in America, it's not about America. It's just about making money, television, and for the teams who get far and it'll be about the football, but it's not really about the game. It's not really about the USA. It's not really about the fans. It's just about money. Qatar was just about money and, demonstrating political power. Yeah. Russia was just about, Putin using his oil money to try and, pretend Russia was this part of.
Rich, you could say the same thing about Saudi in 2034, but I've got to say, when I went there for that Club World Cup, they put on a good show, like in terms of good crowd, and just from my experience, just from talking to the locals as well too. But what really surprised me is how incredible their knowledge of football is.
Yeah, but it's still.
I get that, but I still feel like, because you saw some things like sort of behind the scenes about. There was talks of like the Qatari government was like forcing people to like wear these shirts and that, and then you're going to be the group that supports Japan, and they just kept pan cameras around all these.
But you tell me,
groups. But with the Saudis, I think Saudis are a bit more genuine with their football support.
You put Russia, Saudi, Qatar, USA together, times them by 10, and they still don't deserve a World Cup as much as the UK does, and they still wouldn't do. All of them together wouldn't do a World Cup. Like, not being
Rich Jay thinks Russia was a good World Cup, and it was to an extent, I think.
They put soulless new stadiums built for it, where people were moved out, they were cleaned up. It was a Disney World Cup, Russian equivalent of a Disney World Cup.
So you think that's kind of where it started?
And you said it, mate, on price.
I think it was bought. Yeah, I think it was the first one that was really bought.
Absolutely.
Using the oil money, and I think since then the next 2 World Cups have been bought, and then Saudi's been bought. I actually think Spain, Portugal, 2 real old football countries, and Morocco, of all the countries where people are mad about football, modern in the game today, they are 3 countries who, on their own could almost deserve a World Cup. I know Morocco doesn't have the infrastructure, so it kind of works really well, but they are 3 really proper football countries, and fans will have a brilliant time in all 3 of them, because football in Portugal, get a Lisbon Stadium of Light, or Santiago Bernabeu, or the new now camp in Spain, or going to Morocco and watching Morocco play, but a home game for Morocco in Morocco would just be crazy. And I think that's where World Cup should be held. I just think this, that's a chance for football to save itself before going straight back to Saudi and having air-conditioned games inside, fans not being able to drink, fans not being able to
Even
go
that
out.
Qatar one, weren't there a few deaths when there were a few deaths making the stadiums as well, weren't there? Building.
Construction. Yeah.
From when FIFA announced that Qatar had won the World Cup to when the first ball was kicked, they reckon it was anywhere between
about 60, wasn't it?
3 to 4,000 deaths. Workers had died building those.
If you're going to have a World Cup in that part of the world, Turkey, mad football fans. Yeah. You could have. Imagine you'd have like 2 groups just in Istanbul. Do
you know what would happen? Even if Turkey made the World Cup final in Istanbul, Rich, you know what would happen? It'd be postponed because Fenerbahce and Galatasaray fans would still kick off. Just be peaceful, because your country could just about win a World Cup.
And I'm just looking at it, I'm thinking, World Cup in the UK. If you don't want to just give it to England, you can have a semi-final in Cardiff, and you can have one in Glasgow, and the final at Wembley, and you can have one group playing out of Cardiff, one group playing out of Scotland.
Have a final at the Etihad.
Manchester, Newcastle, Birmingham. Proper clubs going for 150. Well, it wouldn't be, would it? It'd be the Etihad. Possibly you might have one at Everton. You might have a group. So it'd be an amazing World Cup. Turkey would be an amazing World Cup. Going back to Italy, amazing World Cup. There's so many places where football should be going, and it's going to bloody USA.
They award Turkey.
You still want a World Cup. You still want a World Cup in Australia, though, don't you, Rich?
I do,
not just for convenience, but because all 4 of us know that we'd put on a good World Cup.
It'd be the best.
We know deep down that we would. The problem is, and I'll say this till I'm blue in the face, because I've said this on so many Blues Down. I've said this on so many BDU shows. We'll never get it because FIFA wants countries that they can rinse the most money out of, and we're too smart for them, or we already have the infrastructure in place that they know that we're not going to fork out the extra money for it.
Even public transport, right? I just read the other day that I can't remember what city it was, but they're saying they're going to treble the price of a train ticket to and from the stadium. Might even have been the Foxborough. And they were comparing it with us, where every game you get out at Olympic Stadium
free
is free travel included in your ticket.
Well, that's
in
the
fact,
thing.
Germany
does that. I don't know if I told you this story, Macca, but I had two mates of mine who live here in Sydney, who are Chelsea fans. And they scored tickets last minute through UEFA to go to the Champions League final when they beat Munich in 2012. And by the time they booked their flights, I think they forked out over $2,000 each. Because back then you could get last minute fares to Europe for about $2,000. They bought tickets, but then when they looked at accommodation, everything in Munich, the cheapest they could find was about €700 a night. So they stayed out in, I think it was Augsburg, which is about an hour and a half train ride on the S-Bahn away from downtown Munich. They got to Augsburg station, and as they got off, like there was, they're wearing like the Chelsea shirts, and a couple of guys came up, the actually station staff, and they said, like, oh, look, we're buying Munich fans. We're like, hey, like, glad you're in our town. And before they left, the station master basically said, "Oh, you mind if I grab your passports or like just got your info?" And they said, "Why?" And he said, "Well, we assume that you're traveling to Munich like a lot." He said, "Yeah, we want to go in there every day." So they took their details, like photocopied their passports and everything, kept them on record, and basically said, "We give you permission for free travel every day between Augsburg and Munich. If you want to go into town and meet all the Chelsea fans, go to the game, to and from the game." Everything. They basically said, do not take your wallet. In terms of transport around getting from here to Munich, do not take your wallet out of your pocket at all for us. Which I thought was absolutely incredible.
You might recognise this, but it was a bit like that up in Brisbane. Like, we were, when we were at the Gabba watching the Brisbane test, there were England fans, and the hotels around the Gabba were about 800, 900 a night. I had to sleep on a mate's floor. But there were England lads who were staying down the Gold Coast, and they were paying like $1 to get the train up from the Gold Coast to Brisbane.
Well, it's 50 cents.
You got the 50-cent buses. Yeah.
And it was like, so they were staying down the Gold Coast where you could get a really nice hotel room still for like $250 because it's far enough away, and they're paying 50 cents, and they're getting up to the Gabba and back, and it was just like, that was amazing.
Very un-American. Very un-American there.
Well, I say in Britain, if you were trying to go from Birmingham to London on a train like that, you'd be more like, 50 quid each way if you were lucky.
Just quickly, Thunder Road, can you just put in the comments how much tickets are at the moment? Because that's something I'd really be interested in finding out. Just how exorbitant the prices are, and mate, I hope they do drop for you, because nobody deserves to be rinsed that much to watch a World Cup in their home country.
They got the package for 3 games, so but that was flights and everything. But he said the travel in between games is going to be a nightmare, but he's got the package. So
anyway, guys, look, I think we'll move on, because internationals, I think, get us riled up as much as the agenda that is usually set in an international break when it comes to Manchester City. And of course, MJ window cleaning has hit the nail on the head there. Yes, the talk is apparently we're getting a 60-point deduction. So that's the word going around at the moment. And when I say the word, that is just basically football terrorists and Mark Goldberg.
The problem with this 60-point deduction story, right? It started with Keith Wineless, who was CEO of Everton or something in like 1923. Lasted about 6 months in the job or something. He hasn't actually worked in football for about a decade, and he does a podcast every so often, and he speculated on 60 points. A week later, the Overlap talked about it. And someone mentioned what Keith Wineless said to Kieran Maguire and talked about that. And Kieran Maguire basically said, if City are found guilty on the bulk of these charges and the serious ones, then it could be 60 points, right? And that has then created this story. Then someone else said, I've heard it's 60 points. Well, they did, because they heard what was said on the Overlap. And it's become this story. Now, the reality is the punishment is set completely separately from the charges. So the punishment is nothing to do with the body that is looking at the charges now. They will say whether we're guilty or not on each of the charges, then gets handed back to the Premier League, who then have to form a panel after discussing with City to do charges. So even if we'd been found, even if someone knew the verdict, which they don't, then we'd still be speculating about what another body says. But because one bloke said this, all these media channels are
It
then
goes on, yeah.
running with it, and they're
Goes on.
trying to pretend they've heard. So the Mark Goldbridge, I've heard. Well, yeah, I've heard United are shit, and
Oh no, they're back.
Raining.
I was
But it's
right.
easy.
They're back.
I was
They're back.
right.
No,
It's
they're
the
back.
three QCs, isn't it? They've got to get these three QCs together,
Yeah.
and they've just got to get them together to do the verdict, and it's hard to get them three
Well,
together.
Well, I
That's
think
the trouble.
they've done that. I think the problem is that the Premier League went for such a massive amount of stuff
Yeah.
that the report is going to be 1,200 pages long,
Minimum.
and
Minimum.
they know that everyone is going to go through it. The tooth comb, so it's got to be 1,200 pages without a single legal mistake in it.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
that's why it's taken years, because the Premier League were stupid and they went for the Hail Mary on all the charges because I think they didn't think they'd find City guilty and they thought they'd cause
Yeah,
a lot
they've
of
thrown the entire
reputational-
bag of shit and
Yeah.
hope that something sticks. Yeah,
hope
basically,
that something
yeah.
sticks. But also, I'm sure the Red Cartel were part of it, saying if you charge them with loads, even if they're found guilty,
Something.
enough's going to smell. It's going to do them a lot more reputational damage than you charge them with 5. But practically, charging them with 130 was stupid.
Mate, the
because
next,
it meant
And the
it's
court
gonna
of
take
public,
years.
public opinion is already a bit of shit that's already stuck, mate. So
Yeah, it
it's
doesn't
that's
really
it. So
matter.
yeah, they've done what they set out to do, where they've been able to create something that's unavoidable, and that is court of public opinion.
But you can't
Miguel
win
Delaney,
Chelsea.
uh,
Chelsea getting found guilty, and getting fined 10 million.
Yeah.
It's pittance. You know what I mean?
I
Yeah.
think,
Terrible. Money ruining
And this
football.
charge is still
The
pending
championship-
as well because
The championship must be like that because City Spurs in the championship, Netflix head to head, as City and Spurs battle for the title. With
Yeah.
Wrexham, Ryan
I
Reynolds.
say you'll be
behind
rubbing
them,
their
really.
hands, mate. The tickets out.
Yeah,
Macclesfield away.
It's like people
Rich. That
saying-
one chance you get to finally go over there and do Wrexham City away at Wrexham,
People
and they're going to
saying,
go up, we're going to go down.
Yeah. Shows you how
It'll be on
stupid people are
Netflix.
as well. There's people. I've heard some United fans saying, "Oh, the championship." Well, I won't say City would be the best thing that's happened to the championship ever because the story would just be so big. The whole world's attention would be on it.
that's right.
Like this the best team in Europe for the last 10 years, dumped into a lower league.
Yeah.
You'd have more journalists and fans watching the championship than ever have. Not for the right reason necessarily, but just like so the championship would love it. But if they could somehow manage to get City and Spurs down, especially if then Arsenal's title had to be asterisk because it was like City would have won it, but they got deducted 60 points and had to, So I think there's a real opportunity for, great championship, good money for Oxford United if they have City and Spurs away next season, and
Mate, you watch.
Well,
at some
the
point,
thing
hopefully
is-
we don't go down because
Miguel
one of your
Delaney.
favourite clubs is going to go up, isn't it? Coventry looks like
yeah,
they're
no,
gonna go up, Rich,
Coventry,
so
yeah.
Oh,
So we'll have
The
someone
thing
flying
is,
the
if
sky
we-
blue flag for a year whilst we're in the
The
championship.
thing is, if we get a 60-point deduction, right, and we're playing teams, right? If they win, if we beat them, then no points get taken, do they? Do you know what I mean? If we're
well,
stuck
no,
in
no,
the Premier League,
no, they
No,
would
the
start
60
you
points would relegate us, and then another exciting one would be
start of the
60,
season.
60 points at the
well,
start of the
Wouldn't
season.
they just do
We've
something
got
similar
to
to
get
like what
to
they've done with
95.
Sheffield Wednesday? Because Sheffield
We have to
Wednesday
get
started with
95
like
and we won't get relegated.
Sheffield Wednesday started with like negative 20 points or something, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think
mean,
they
what-
started with -8 and then got another 12 taken off.
Yeah,
them
what's the
about,
highest-
That's right. Yeah.
What's the highest points now? Whoever the third team's going to get relegated with now, what's the highest point they can get?
Normally, recently, mid-30s.
38, 40.
Well, do you know what? I've said this over the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, it takes some doing
Gone,
that.
the 40 points is gone now. The 40
Yeah, I
points is
reckon it
gone.
has.
It's like if you can get 30 to 35 will probably keep you up.
Yeah. So if you
40,
gave
40
City,
is just dead now.
if you gave
And I think that's to
City
do with the
40,
rise of the mid-table teams, your Villas, your Brightons.
45,
Yeah.
45
Fulham's,
point
yeah.
deduction or 40-point deduction would be just brilliant. That would be so exciting. City, start -45. We need like 85 for the season, and we're just, staying up on the last day.
What,
there's so much-
I can't get
Or
it
the
in my-
alternative, Rich, which is what is more likely.
get relegated on
Last
the last
day
day
to
of the
stay up
season.
and
Yeah,
win,
but how does
and
it-
go down again.
I still
Yeah,
don't
but-
know how it's going to work. Say it's 45. for instance, if we win our first game, right? We get
a minus 32. No, we get a minus 32.
32. And
then minus 29 and minus 26. Yeah.
Yeah, like that. Obviously.
So that would be quite exciting, especially if we could win the Champions League the same year. And then if we did get relegated, if we got relegated, we could play in the Champions League in the Championship.
You do the old Melbourne Storm and come out in the triangle. You know, when they played for no points all season.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think, I think the funny thing is, I reckon there's quite a few City fans who would actually quite enjoy the excitement if we did get some mad punishment.
Because we're very sick, mate. We're very sick and warped.
Yeah, it would galvanise the City fans like nothing else. Yeah. And it might be quite entertaining.
What gets me is what has the club sold these players? Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what have they told them? Like, because that must be one of the first questions when they sign for City. Do you know what I mean? What's the situation? Like,
and re-sign, new contracts as well. Re-sign.
We're innocent.
Well, they may not even have to ask the club, Gov. They might even just talk to some of the senior players and say we've been assured that everything's fine.
Yeah. Like in future, when we go in the summer and start buying players. Do you know what I mean?
Are we now at the conclusion that if we do hear anything now, it's probably going to be in the summer?
It will be.
It has to be now.
Will be.
It has to be.
We're about three international breaks overdue.
I don't think they're going to. Yeah, and I think this season's a write-off. They'll try and find something massive in the news. If City have done well, then they'll try and leak it. The day of the Football World Cup or something.
If not, if it's a potential, the speculation of an 80-point deduction just before the cup final, if we're in that, or just before last game of the season against Villa, coincidence. Coincidence.
No, the thing is, the verdict will come out probably a couple of months before their punishment.
Yeah.
So if we got the verdict now, we probably wouldn't have a punishment.
Oh, true. Yeah, maybe
the summer.
Well, I don't want to have to put a load of asterisks on me frigging tattoos on me arm.
The thing is, everything's in your memory, isn't it? Right? Like there's no asterisks on your memory. And that's the point.
Sarah's confident. She still thinks it's not compliance, and I agree with her.
I reckon we probably overpaid.
When we win the league
by $50,000
this season, it'll probably be the day after.
Yeah.
But
or the hour after.
Well, and if we do end up nicking the the Premier League trophy on the final day from Arsenal, we know doesn't matter what happens. Or one thing's for certain, we know old Dickie Masters is not going to be in the Etihad.
We get it given to us. We get the memories. And if they ever win it, they only get it with an asterisk anyway, so who cares?
Yeah.
I think if we're in a position to win the league in the last day of the season, everybody the ground should be, never mind a tifo, like the club leaves a little square for your tifo, and they should just leave 60,000 just white pages with a black asterisk on it, and everybody just lifts it up.
That's good thinking. We'll put that to 1894. Everton did a big one with just the Premier League logo and corruption. And I like that. I want to get that on a T-shirt. Yeah. I think they've managed to take them down, like, for fear of suing their asses. But you can't find it. Corruption T-shirts one I want.
Well, I was Macca. I was thinking about a fun design for another flag would be if we were cleared the 115, and in my personal opinion, I think we will be cleared. Was I was going to do something along the lines of like the lyrics from Oasis "Gas Panic." And it was, get on your knees and pray, panic is on the way. And it was just going to be Lord Panic.
Panic is on the way.
Yeah.
And that would, especially any ground or like game we went to against a club that was really trying to push the 115, and that I would just have that there ready to go.
Panic, here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Panic is on the way.
Who knows, mate? Who knows? Yeah. By the way, did you notice we won some silverware last week?
Yes, I think.
This
is the first Blues Down Under since we won some silverware. So I was going to get to that eventually.
The big one, as I call it. We've won the big one now.
The what is it? The Worthington Milk Capital 1 Cup of Carabao.
Didn't our Japanese superheroines also come back from winning the Asian Cup in Sydney to winning the Premier League? Didn't they? Didn't City
to get 4 points from winning the Premier League?
Oh,
so
is it? They
we'll
haven't
get back
won
to
it yet.
Carabao because I mean it's a nice little bit of it's good to talk about as we haven't talked about on BDU anyway. But yeah, quickly just talk about the women's. I mean they had a great 3-0 winner on the weekend.
Great win
at the Swamp against the women's United team. Martin did a great watch along for that as well too. So if you want to go rewatch that, that is on the channel as well. 3-0. Game was pretty much wrapped up early in the second half, and although I think Arsenal have 2 games in hand on us because they're going deep in the Champions League as they have done the last couple of seasons. I believe mathematically we only need 4 points from the last 3 games to clinch the title.
Yeah.
Well, technically 5, but I mean we've got like a superior goal difference of about 14 over Arsenal. So I think 2 more wins, and unfortunately I think they've got a women's FA Cup, and then I think they might have international breaks again. So I don't think they're playing until latter part of April or something. But again, I think if Arsenal just drop any points from their last those 2 games in hand that they have, we only need to win one more game of the last 3, I think. So big up to the women. Obviously, we'd like to talk a little bit more about them on the show, but just there's a lot going on in the men's team, as we all know. So
we won some more silverware as well. Man City eSport. They've done a 3P.
Yes, the esports guys. What, 3 years in a row now?
3 years running.
Yeah.
Unbelievable, eh?
Yeah. Our gamer lads are going for 4 in a row as well. Good on them.
I don't know what the prize money was. Don't know.
And the governor won the Sunshine Coast Sabutio Championship against St Mirren on last Saturday night.
What's that?
I said you won the Sunshine Coast Sabutio Cup against St Mirren for City on Saturday night. I hear.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Don't worry.
It's
just some more silverware.
No.
Yeah.
Anything else? No monthly medals, Rich, last weekend?
Yeah,
no club championships at your local?
No. I did get a hole in one the other week, though.
Oh, that's right. You
that
did,
was
didn't you?
pretty
Yeah.
good. I got a hole in one. That was pretty exciting.
After dark, that Rich, after dark.
Talking about golf, by the way. Yeah, guys. Look, we'll quickly go back to it. Obviously, some of us weren't on here to chat about the Carabao, but yeah, obviously, City went to Wembley, Etihad South, 2-0 win against the Arse, and 2 goals from Nico O'Reilly, who is just coming on leaps and bounds. If there's anything more there's nothing more we can say. I don't know, but we're gonna have to start creating like a whole different language to describe how good that kid is. But mate, I don't know about you guys, but in the aftermath of that cup win, I've got to say I feel really calm for the remainder of this season. And we said off camera, I said this is probably the show that starts our run to see just how deep we can go in these remaining 2 competitions. But to get one over Arsenal, win a cup, and it's something that I've missed the Carabao. I've missed winning the Carabao. It's in our head. Yeah, it's all in our heads now. But I think we're in a good place now. I think most fans are let's just see where we go. I'm not saying to treat the rest of the season like a free hit, but let's just go for it.
I said to Martin,
let's just go for it.
It'll damage them on the running.
Yeah.
Mentally, it'll damage them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now they're sort of panicking. Well, I won't say panicking, but it's either 2 ways with the Arsenal players. It's either they are injured, they're pulling them all in from international games. I think about 9 players.
Or they're not injured, they're panicking. They're not injured. Games. They're bringing them back. They're bringing them back to try.
They're doing what Fergie did for years.
Together.
Fergie did the same thing for years. Yeah.
Apparently, Tuchel said, Sacco said, "You're not fit. You're better off going back." Apparently, he said that straight to him.
Yeah. I think I think he's, I think he's getting away with it. But I think he, like Foden and like Cole Palmer, have been very poor this season for
very ordinary, Rich.
And I think Saka has been, since before Christmas, he's not worth his place in the Arsenal team at the moment.
Yeah,
he's
hopefully he'll stay in.
Well, Arteta is guilty of playing Rice and Saka in the smaller games, if you know what I mean, and he's not been taking them off, which I was guilty of Pep as well when he won't rotate players, and he, you know, we seen Bernardo on that, and they was on their ass last 15 and not rotating, and Arteta's he did exactly the same. I said it mid-season that he's going to run these players into the ground because he won't change them, and this is you see this at the end of the season now, you know. So I think they have run out of steam in a way.
You feel like we've got the momentum again, Gov?
Yeah, definitely.
Mate, I think
I don't think I think they're injured. They're not playing games. I think they're actually injured.
Yeah.
All their back four didn't play internationals. None of them. They're supposed to be all injured.
Yeah.
Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, and who was on the other side? Henkape. All them four are supposed to be injured. Didn't play international games.
I think Henkape had his soul destroyed by Semenyo the other week. I think he's got an injury.
I actually did think. I mean,
I'll be surprised if he starts at the Etihad in a few weeks.
Before the cup final, I was just scared of Pep not doing a madness again with the team.
He did do a madness, but it was one that worked.
Yes.
Yeah.
He did a madness, but it worked perfectly.
So we're saying even his madnesses are 50-50. It's not all his madnesses end up in.
Some of his madnesses have been brilliant. We just don't talk about them as madnesses.
The maddest one I remember was it? God, it had to be about 4 seasons ago. You remember we played that group stage match against PSG, and I remember everybody was going crazy because we lost to them in Paris 2-0, and then it was like later in the group stage game they played at the Etihad, and everybody's worried like, oh, Messi and all that sort of stuff. And Pep, for some reason, decided to start Zinchenko as a false 9.
Yeah.
And everybody was just going, what the hell is going on here? Like, I think he played Cancelo at left back or something like that.
Yeah.
And they had Zinchenko as left back. And actually, if you remember, because he made an interview about it like the following season, that was the game where Gabriel Jesus basically effectively threw his toys out the pram and said, if I can't get in this squad and you're putting Zinchenko as false 9, then I can't be here anymore.
Yeah.
That was like the final straw, because he basically said he was like calling his mum and his family and that, and he was basically done with the club by then. But that's probably one of the wildest ones for me. But that was one of those ones that was effective.
I'm talking about, Rich was talking about Semenyo. That was what I want Semenyo to do. That was the first time I've seen him take his player on and get to the bar line and get it in.
Do you know what we saw more there, Governor? We saw like September Semenyo when he was tearing up the Premier League at Bournemouth.
Yeah. But he's been played too centrally by City. He's not been, we've played him at like joint striker and stuff. I think that was the first time since probably his first game where he's been told
out on the wing,
hug the touchline. And occasionally run inside from the touchline. But once he got Hincapié booked, he was like, I'm just gonna go past him every time.
But when Hincapié got that yellow card, I thought, keep at him.
Yeah, and he did.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For a change, Gov, wasn't it? For a change.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first final I've gone into for a long time. Final, semi-final, where I thought, I don't think we'll win this. So it was a real pleasant surprise that we did. And, towards the end, I just thought it's actually really comfortable as well. So it'll go one of two ways. I mean, this could galvanise Arsenal, and they could go, you know what, we just got to hold on now. Because for us to win the league, that's a lot of wins we need to have with no mistakes, and they need to have a fair few losses, because goal difference on top, it's a decent gap. And I know you should never say never, and we've done it a few times before, but this is probably the hardest one. And if we were to overcome this now, I reckon this could be his greatest achievement.
Could be.
On the back of some really poor results, where we've dropped points where we should never have done it. If we can overcome this, and for me, it starts on Saturday with the game against Liverpool. We have got to go and take it to Liverpool and show them we're so much better than them. Show them no respect, and just beat them. Just beat them, because to beat Arsenal at Wembley and then to beat Liverpool in the quarters, that is going to be, that'll send us on our way. And I think I saw a quote. I didn't see it at the start of the game, but it might have been in the huddle where they heard Haaland say something along the lines of, let them know that we're back, or let them know we're around. And that's what they've got to say now every single game They need to know that they've been in a game with Manchester City now.
Yeah. If with Arsenal, it's like they either stew on this result, or what they should have, what might have been good for them is to jump back on the horse, but because of the international, they can't.
The break came at a good time for us,
so they've got to stew on that result.
Do you reckon that they'll be
because Arsenal now have to mull on that? Yeah.
Do you reckon though? The one thing I wonder whether before they play City, Arteta's just going to put Shirky doing his keepy uppies on the screen to try and motivate the Arsenal players, because that would,
unless he gets his light bulb out again and starts showing them a light
or
bulb.
the lemons too. Don't forget the lemons.
To get
he did lemons, didn't he?
Yeah.
So I think
playing You'll Never Walk Alone and the training ground Tannoy and everything like that. Yeah.
Is play Shirky and get him to do some showback thing about a minute in and get a couple of them sent off.
Yeah.
Because
I'll tell you,
no, Rich. If we get a penalty, we know who's going to take it.
Mark my words.
Turkey.
I'm telling you.
Turkey Rabona. Is it Rabona? The chip one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or a back heel.
A penalty Rabona. I like it.
Balotelli back heel.
Yeah.
Pep
mate, so they're looking at them.
AMC wants Arsenal in the FA Cup final. Well, first things first, we've got to beat Liverpool, which is obviously our first game back from international break. Saturday at 10:45 p.m. local time here in Australia.
Great time for us.
Nice fan-friendly time. Yes, Governor. Well, greedy sod, you get an extra hour anyway. So enjoy it while it lasts, because it all changes about 3 hours after the game's
back
over.
on the same time as you.
Yeah, we're back.
I'd like us to get through Liverpool, then get through the semi and meet Southampton in the final, because that means Southampton have knocked out Arsenal and one other decent team as well. Yeah. But Arsenal have got Southampton in the cup away. No easy game that. And then they've got the two sporting games with us in between. So, their season could be really off to a stinker.
You've got a point there, Maka. You know why? Because I think they might put their B side out against Southampton and concentrate on the league.
Yeah, that'd be nice, wouldn't it?
I reckon they will. I reckon the league is what they want, and I reckon they'll put a dodgy side out against Southampton.
But you know what? I think we've seen when City do that towards the end of the season, because we've done it in a couple of FA Cup semi-finals and stuff. It takes your momentum. When we lost to Chelsea in that Champions League final, we pissed about with our 11. It cost us a few games. It lost us momentum, and we just never got our mojo back. So I think it's such a risky, you rotate 2 or 3 players out and keep 8 the same and do a little rotation. But if they go all to their reserves and they lose, the momentum killer. If they basically, from the last time they played in the Champions League and the Premier League, they go out to Southampton and they lose the cup final to City, that is horrible.
Beautiful.
For the mentality of the club. Because basically, if we win our games, and our games, Chelsea away's hard, but they're a bit of a mess at the moment.
Yeah.
But we've got 7 very winnable games, Arsenal accepted. But obviously, we have to beat Arsenal. It's gone. But if we beat Chelsea and beat Arsenal,
game on, mate. Game on.
We've got every reason to think we can win every game.
Also look at it this way too.
And that means Arsenal only can lose 1 game.
And if you think about it too, if you factor
one game of those other 6.
We look at it this way. I'm so glad we've got to play Arsenal in the league too, because that's a huge factor as well in terms of closing the gap. We've obviously got the game in hand against Palace. If somehow between now and I think maybe not when we play Arsenal, but maybe when we play that catch-up game against Crystal Palace, if Arsenal were to drop points in any games, I think it really just opens up the title race again even more. I don't think it changes anything if they drop points between now and when we play them, because I think it's too close.
Well, hopefully Crystal Palace will be on the beach when we play them. So, do you know what I mean?
Well, mate, they've also got 3 London games as well, which is at home to Fulham. Fulham normally roll over for them, so the best we could hope for is a draw. West Ham, who knows? West Ham are fighting for their lives.
Yeah. So always put up a good game against Arsenal, Maka.
Yeah, but
Marcus Silva just has that team pretty well drilled. They do. Yeah, the last few seasons, I don't think Arsenal's got max points against max
And
points
their
against
last game when we play Villa is Palace away. Can you imagine the Palace reaction if they can stop their London rivals winning the league? And that's often the case, isn't it, with London teams? That's why they rarely win the league, because they're playing so many derby games.
Yep.
So they've got the whole of London against them, and they've got 3 London games, which is amazingly good. You never know. I mean, I think I'm clutching at straws. I've done the predictions, and we're going to win it by 3 points. No, 2 points. But mate, that's just me dreaming. I'm telling you.
Mathematically, I'm not giving up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if we don't do it, fair play. But
here's the thing, Governor. It's like, I haven't given up on it. I haven't given up on it, but I'm not worried about it until we start playing again.
Yeah. If we beat
Chelsea,
Chelsea,
start closing the gap. That's when I'll start worrying about.
We'll win the league.
If we beat Chelsea and Arsenal.
If we beat Chelsea and Arsenal, we'll win the league. If we don't beat Chelsea, then it'll be over before we play Arsenal, because if it goes out to 11 or 12 points, the confidence that I'll give them, it gives them what Liverpool had last season, which is too big a buffer to worry about. So even then, but if we beat Chelsea and then we go and beat Arsenal, and then we're 6 points from the game in hand, and our goal difference, if we beat Arsenal by a couple,
true.
Chelsea, our goal difference.
What about if West Ham get points against Arsenal, and then that means Tottenham fall into the drop zone?
Come on, you Irons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at our last game of the season.
I see. I'm not horrible, right? I want Tottenham. I want Tottenham to go down because it'd be really funny. But I'm not horrible. I don't want them to go down watching Arsenal win the league. So I think it's our duty. It's our duty to beat Arsenal so they don't win the league. Yeah. Tottenham can go down. Their fans can be, content themselves that we've stopped Arsenal. They can then have the best year of Sporting Spurs they've had since Gaza was there, winning the championship with 100 points, new away games, brilliant atmospheres, really enjoying it, and then come back to the Premier League, a club reborn. And then hopefully they won't beat us every season after that.
I'm not giving up. Tell you we are. I'm there to the end, mate. I'm not giving up. I'm not
I'm not concerned about the Premier League until things start moving again. Until things start moving again, that's when I'll start.
We should be favourites. It's in the bag. Domestic treble.
Mate, if Tottenham's going down,
you saying the same thing about Saturday, Rich? How do you feel? I mean, this is probably the first time in many, many, many years we've been that confident going into matches against Liverpool. But obviously Salah announcing that he's leaving the club. Do you think you might see a little bit of a lift from him, possibly?
No,
still got a chance in Europe and still got a chance in the domestic cup. So
I think it's going to be the game that gets Slot sacked. I think it's his last chance as the FA Cup, and I think we're going to knock him out.
He'll go in the summer anyway, won't he?
Yeah, but he's going to find out. They might keep it quiet, but he's going to find out after losing to City. They're going to
probably.
They'll be on the phone from Fenway Park saying, "Sorry, guy, you're out."
Who would you say is going to go down? The other two teams,
Tottenham,
Wolves,
Burnley, and
Wolves definitely, and Burnley. Yeah, Burnley just
gone.
Forest are safe, aren't they? So
Forest will just keep doing enough. They're good enough to just I think that all their eggs are in the European basket. Because they beat Mitchell and the Danish team to go to the next round.
Michelin, the tires people.
That's why cut me off. I said the Danish club. Because I don't know, and as far as I know, is Palace is still in Europe too, aren't they? Because I can't remember which one's in which. Because that drama that they had with bloody Leon and Fona and all that. Yeah.
Remember the old Michelin man, Rich?
I know. I've never heard of a Danish club named after a big white man with like rolls going all around him. Yeah.
Put in the comments and spell it out to you what it actually is.
Casper Schmeichel.
Didn't realize
Blue Heart made it.
I've looked at Michelin, and it just says Rene Redzepi has a Michelin-starred restaurant in Denmark.
Fair play.
It's not a football club, right? It's a restaurant.
Yeah.
Blue Heart made a nice point there, Pat, about Pep on the pitch at Wembley with his daughter. That was a really nice moment. That really emotional, wasn't it? And you know, she knows what he's gone through.
Yeah.
And you know, like all of them at this top level, the job just gets in the way of any family life. So to see him with her there, and you know, it's just a beautiful moment. It obviously meant a lot to him, that win, a lot.
Yeah. Mako, that's a good segue, really, to talk about Rodri, because I think he will go over there because of his family.
Can we talk about Rodri?
Don't get me started.
He scored in Istanbul,
I know,
lad.
Rich. I know, Rich.
We were there.
I know your feelings, but I think he will be for his family. I agree with you, Rich, in certain points.
Yeah, just a moment. Yep.
No, I agree. I agree totally. I agree totally what Rich is saying.
Or Barcelona.
That's a player's character as well, for a team to do that and still go to them. Like it's I don't know. It's like it's gone over his head, and he'll go.
To be honest with you, I've heard a few people saying, "Oh, maybe he's been misquoted about that." It's a very
small quote. Very small quote of a large conference.
He is an incredibly.
And he's a smart lad too.
He's an incredibly clever bloke. He's incredibly experienced. Between him and David Silva, Sergio Aguero, Vinny Company, they have been out and done hundreds and hundreds of interviews. He's the one who very deliberately made a few points in the interview that were most optimistic for us would be if he was trying to get extra money out of City. But I think he was, you know, I've heard a few people.
I don't think he's that type of player, Rich.
But I think he was trying to force his exit. You know, the more I've seen of it, the more I think he's trying to force his exit now and not on City's terms in a year or two.
Well, maybe it's not even forcing it. It's just saying, look, you've had the best of me, and this is what I want. And will he leave with our good regards? Of course he will.
Yeah, not if he goes to Madrid, he won't.
Mate, we're so sad to see the back of him, but we're not Liverpool fans, you know. If he goes to Madrid on a free, like Alexander-Arnold did, so what? You know?
No.
Phil Foden did that. Then that's
this is where I'm different, Macca. Real Madrid, the way Real Madrid treated him when he won the Ballon d'Or,
absolutely.
If he would go near Madrid, then he isn't deserving of our respect because he doesn't respect himself.
To err is human, Rich.
Once a player leaves us, I don't care where they go once they leave us. We've had the best out of all these players, and I don't care after that. Once they leave
United.
Any players had success with them all through their prime. Always had them through their prime.
They're legends of the club. You know, what they've done for the club is brilliant, but once they leave, then it's move on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you have to say, when you look at how players leave the club, it does massively affect how they're remembered. I think there's no
That's
question.
On the person.
No, but as a person, like when you've had people who left City, like, you know, to be fair, De Bruyne or Silva or Aguero,
Sergio.
They left it all. They left never having really said a word against City, never having briefed against City. And for all the Bernardo rumours about him wanting out for 5 years on the trot, he's never said a word. So it will leave a very different taste in the mouth towards him if he goes to Real Madrid that with the other players.
Rich?
No. And I'm being very calm tonight because I was pretty outraged by the idea that he'd go to Real Madrid. I was disgusted by it.
I couldn't believe it when he said it's just because of the rain. Terrible that he would mention the rain in Manchester. His kids were turning grey.
Well, that was Nolito, wasn't it?
Was it Garcia? I thought it was.
I thought it was Nolito did that because he said he just said his family were just.
His kids were turning grey. He had to leave.
Right,
But anyway,
and to be honest with you, with John Stones and Bernardo, who are two of my favourite ever City players, almost certainly both leaving this summer, there's not going to be any room for me to have an ounce of sadness if Rodri goes, because my sadness is going to be for Johnny.
Well,
Johnny fucking Boulders, me too.
And our superhero Bernardo.
You've got to get.
They're
what
finally
you
going to
can.
let Bernardo out of that cupboard.
Are we watching? Are we going out to watch the? We're going out to watch the match, Rich. Whichever his last game. Well, he's probably already played his last game.
I think
Bernardo and Stone.
I think Bernardo and Stone should come to Sydney. You know, and play here. It's down the road from us. Yeah, Stones has got at least a decade left at the A-League fitness level.
He might go and join.
So that means he'll only play for 3 of it because he'll still be injured.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But apparently Bernardo, part of it, he's found the key to the cupboard that they keep him locked up in during the week, and he's finally realised that he can potentially leave after 7 years of saying, "I won't be back."
Yeah,
that's it, Bernardo. You get back in the cupboard.
Martin was asking me to be all gutted about Bernardo, and I said, honestly, I've been numb to it because he's told me for at least 5 seasons on the trot.
Yeah,
Bernardo is 100% going this summer, and he never has. So, you know, my mourning for Bernardo is long gone. I think it'll be a big problem for the manager to deal with next season to figure out who's going to play in 15 different positions for us. But, you know, more than just about anyone who I've seen play for City in my lifetime, Bernardo has run run himself ragged for this club, and he's. And
how nice to see him lift that trophy.
He's got the heart of Zabaleta.
Anybody see that stat that since we signed him, he's only been out injured for a total of 9 games.
In
9 seasons.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Effort wise, and the amount of playing.
Probably most of them wouldn't even be injuries. They're probably just precautions or knocks.
What's even better is the away fans, and not the intelligent ones, mainly United and Liverpool. They hate him with a passion. And I saw Luke Chompy posted on X, and he just said so sad to hear about Bernardo, and literally the pylon of hatred about Bernardo was just full on. And I just went, you know what? It's hilarious that they dislike him so much. And we adore him so much.
Do you know what it is, Macca? They'll never admit it. But he falls into that category of player. I'm trying to remember the last time any of those big clubs had a player like that. But the player that falls that category, it's like you hate his guts, but you'd love to have him at your club.
Yeah. My mate, who's a big Liverpool fan, he said, in that regard, you dislike him so much that you even wouldn't have him in your team.
Is that for Bruno Fernandes?
Yeah. So, but
well, I've always said this. Bruno Fernandes is the first player in history to man-mark the referee.
Isn't he dislikable?
Yeah.
Isn't he dislikable?
The problem with Bruno Fernandes is I don't really know how good he is because, and I was saying this to United fan, like, Bruno's looks good playing for a team who haven't actually been playing any high pressure games and playing for anything that matters. So in a way, he's a bit like a soldier who at base is the best marksman who's doing it. But if he ever actually plays real football in real games that matter, will he be as good as he is, or will he freeze? Because if he was playing in the latter reaches of the Champions League, because let's not forget, in his career, but he's played 2 knockout Champions League games, and obviously United lost them, or lost at least one of them because he only played 2. So he hasn't played for a title in the Premier League. The best he's done is an FA Cup. He hasn't played knockout Champions League football, so he's never been tested in real football when it matters, when the pressure's on.
True.
When players rise or they fall. So we don't know if he's just Matt Letizia, or if United actually one day compete, we'll find out whether Fernandes.
Do you know what it is, Rich? I think United fans put it. Yeah, I think United fans put it in a good way where they say, okay, they try to talk about like if they're trying to put like their best ever 11 of all time, and if someone tries to put Bruno Fernandes in that conversation, most of those fans will probably turn around and say he wouldn't even get on the bench.
Yeah, no,
for their best 11, he's not even. He's not even close to a mention of their greatest. Yeah.
They've got 3 sides. You know, they're the first Bergie side, the second, you know, the Bergie Babe side, and that side is, well, probably the 50s and the 60s sides, who all, you know, really won stuff and played at the absolute top level of football, and had players playing for them who were up there as the best in Europe, not playing in mid-table games where they look good, but playing in finals and stuff. And so you just can't compare Fernandes to Beckham or Scholes or Giggs or Keane or
Not
any of
one
those
bit.
guys, because they did it season after season after season. And you have to be a great footballer. And this is why I sometimes disagree about when people say that Gerrard is head and shoulders above other. To be a great footballer, you have to put yourself inside, really battling to win things, and you have to win things. You have to be the difference that takes your side. So I hear fans saying, "Oh, Gerrard's miles above Scholes and Lampard," but when it mattered, Scholes and Lampard did a lot more than
Just get
Gerrard
your
did.
Premier League medals out. That's soft. It's what Clough used to say. Show me your medals.
Yeah. So if United compete next year and they go for the title, they go semi-finals of the Champions League, and Bruno leads them to that, then they can start talking about Bruno at the level against De Bruyne or against players like that.
It's the same as world class, Rich, isn't it? Same as world class player. That gets thrown around too easy. Yeah,
I mean, I see it with Arsenal fans and Declan Rice, comparing Rice to Scholes or Lampard or Gerrard. It's like, no, they did it. They did it. If Rice takes Arsenal to the title this year and they win the title next year, then Rice can be talked about with those players. But at the moment, a Europa Conference win is not completing football, and an FA Cup win for Bruno is not completing football.
Let's not talk about that one.
Not at all.
And he's a medical doctor now.
Too much anyway.
Evening, Elliot. How you been, mate?
I'm very good, lads. How are you?
Not too bad. How's your international break? Did it fly, or was it just the same old? Felt like every day just was a grind.
I've enjoyed it a little bit, but then there's other days where you just probably miss like the actual proper football. But now I think it's probably been needed. I don't know, a good thing it come in after we won the Carabao Cup, or whether that was a bad thing. Only time will tell with that, I suppose. But now probably good for.
Good, because it makes Arsenal stew on it for 2 weeks.
That's right.
Yeah. I think the only thing with Arsenal though, which I think they've got, is it Southampton? I think at the weekend in the FA Cup. So I'd imagine they get past that.
Mac has already said they're going to play their reserves and get knocked out. So we're
that's what I say. I think.
Is that what you're going for? Yeah, well, apparently they've got loads of injuries, haven't they? But I don't know whether I believe that. To be fair, I don't know whether that's a legit thing though, Governor. I don't know if I'm believing that or not.
I don't think they're playing.
It smells a bit of like old Fergie in the day where
Fergie in it. It's Fergie. Yeah, it's Fergie that man. It's so much Fergie. But obviously I just heard you briefly speak about Bernardo and that. I was put in the chat. For me, he's probably Pet's best ever signing. I don't know if he was or watched the interview with Kyle Walker. I think it with Mr. Gary Neville. But he was speaking about like how Bernardo he's the first to pick up stuff from Pep. It's a good watch actually, as much as probably we don't like Neville. With him sat down and Walker speaking about the City things, it's quite interesting. But now for me, he's been unbelievable. And Pat, you mentioned about him about his injuries. I mean, that's just mental to say he's only had that many injuries in this amount of time he's been here, and considering those 9 games that he was out,
like I said, they could be precautional, they could be knocks, so he could have still played.
No. This is the thing, innit? And this is where, like, obviously, I know me and Rich have always had this discussion kind of thing. For me, that's treble season. It was world class Stones, but for me, this is where I sort of have a little bit of a thing with Stones, and obviously you're the same as well, Pat. But I can't put Stones in the same missing category as like a Bernardo, because we just haven't seen enough of him. It's that simple, really.
I don't disagree with you, Elliot. I mean, I think we lost De Bruyne in 2023, not 2025, and in many ways, we lost John Stones in 24. Not 26. So Stones goes this summer, but we haven't. He hasn't played for 2 seasons. Same as De Bruyne when he left, hadn't really played for 2 seasons. So Stones will live forever in all our hearts.
I agree with that, man.
Stones will rise again. And there'll be in about 300 years' time, there'll be a religion.
He'll have his own. I don't know if he'll have a statue, but he'll definitely have his own wing in the A&E.
So,
I think it's a big risk. I think is it a big risk? I had this discussion with a couple of Blues the other day. I think it might have been after the Carabao Cup final at Wembley, and we was on the way home and we were saying like, you can spin it in different narratives because, like, the thing with losing players is yes, you are losing a lot of experience, but then on the other hand, I also think maybe their time to just come to an end. Like Ake on Sunday, everyone's like, why we're playing Ake? Funny enough, he probably was one of his best players. And it was quality, and you know what I mean. And he's another one for me. He's probably in the top maybe 5, 6 of Pep's best ever signings. I mean, that treble season, I think without Ake at left back, I don't think we probably win the treble. I don't know what you like you think of that and stuff.
Because Ake was mine and Martin's shout for like player of the year, player of the season in the treble season because he was incredible.
Yeah,
it was
as well.
It didn't matter if you put him at centre back or left back. He would put 8 out of 10 performances in every single game.
Yeah, quality, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, and honestly,
minimum 8 out of 10. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Ake last season played himself. He played 3 years off his own career because worse than anyone in our team, we played him when his hamstrings were gone. And we made him play.
Same with Kevrich. That's same with Kevrich. You go back and you watch just about him, mate. But you go back and you watch like the treble documentary on, I think it's on Netflix, and you watch the 4 in a row thing. You can see it there, like something.
The doctor said his hamstring was basically like a wet paper towel.
Yeah, wet paper towel. Yeah. I mean, the Bayern game always stands out for me when I think it was it? I think we played him away and Haaland scored the goal where he just smashed into the top of the roof for the net. And that game for me always stands out. And I look back to De Bruyne then and I always think, yeah, you played well, but we probably knew around that time that he was playing with an injury. Scary. But then look what he did that season. I mean, the Arsenal game always stands out when we smashed him at our gaff. But no, I think you've got to credit these players, and this is why for me, this is where it probably separates the cult heroes to probably the legends. And for me, Bernardo's probably in that. Stones is an argument for people. I hear it.
There's actually one that we've missed out big time here, and I think what's significant about it was the fact that it happened halfway through his second season at the club, and that was the way he stepped up after Kevin De Bruyne went down with that long-term injury in the formidable season. He was easily our best player. He was easily a player of the season. Arguably was a shout for a PFA player of the year as well too. But that 2018-19 season, the way Bernardo stepped up when KDB went down long term with those injuries, which was sort of like you could say was the beginning of the end, basically, because we're always going to deal with those sort of injuries with Kevin for the rest of his City career. But the way he stepped up, he just became like a cult hero in the space of like half a season. And the way he has stepped up since then and continued to do it.
Wait. You're stepping on me Wednesday show. You're stepping on me Wednesday show, man.
I can't step on you. Well, we're on the Tuesday show. We're on the Tuesday show, so you come back tomorrow when it's Wednesday and you have the same discussion.
I can step on.
Boss man's here now.
Yeah, you know it, man. I'm glad you realised it.
Ash, just a quick one. We can't sell Stones because he's at the end of his contract this summer. And Ake's got 1 year left.
By the way, we are going to set up a helpline for Rich during the summer.
Going to need it, Martin. He's going to need it.
0800, help Rich.
Do you know what, Martin? I won't need it. Like every World Cup summer, it's going to be the England fans who are going to need all the help this summer. So I'll be there to help and assist.
Yeah. Martin, the helpline will be 0800 15 times.
Yeah, I don't know who's going to be more devastated, Elliot last summer over Kevin or Rich over Stones. I don't know who's going to be more devastated.
Stones is
Rich will be more devastated.
Stones kind of left 2 years ago because he hasn't played at all.
No, Elliot had a bit of a dark time when Kevin left.
Yeah, I did.
He had a dark.
It wasn't that. You know what it was. I don't think it was that. I think if I remember rightly, and actually, funny enough, Martin, it was a match I remember you missing. You was away, and I messaged you, and I said that was one of the best atmosphere.
You talking about the Palace game?
It was Crystal Palace. It was Palace at home, and I believe Kev scored a free kick that game. And after the game, I all thought, you know what? Maybe he's got another. Like don't wrong. Like we've all probably done it. Do you know what I mean? Like I was there, and I'm like, do you know what? Has he got another year in him? Maybe a bit like Aguero. Like, come on, Sergio, have you got another year left in you, or David Silva, or even you go back even further
was
than
like that for a few years. Elliot,
he was.
Give him season after season after season.
Yeah, and I was like, come on, maybe we've got another year. But nah, it was the right decision with Kev. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. I
Sadly, it
don't
I
was,
think
wasn't
it's the
it?
same with Bernardo. I mean, I wouldn't mind him staying, but I think we're just kidding ourselves. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know
Well,
what?
there's a chance.
You know,
There's a chance. There's a chance he don't start anyway. Ain't the governor? That's the other side of it as well. Like if we do get the signings who are being reported, there's a chance he probably doesn't start games anyway. I mean, I don't know where you'd fit the likes of O'Reilly and that and Gonzalez if he was staying, Rodri if he was staying, Anderson and Tonali. Obviously, there's players on about coming in, isn't there? So I don't know. Don't know what you do with that, man. But
since Bernardo signed for City, what 9 was it 9? 9 this is 9th season, isn't it?
9th season, yep.
Yeah, he has played more than a game a week of football
in that position as well. Sort of in the
what's
middle.
He had? Something like about 440 games now, isn't he?
He's about 460 for City, I think, and he's played, I think, 100 international games for Portugal in that time. So he's basically played. He's probably started virtually a game a week, and you can chuck in another 40, 50 substitute appearances on top. He's been absolutely incredible. Like his injury record, his tactical understanding, and he's going to go down as the player. Pep played more than anyone else. He's going to go down, right up there with our, legends of City. And but he's a player who he'll go with every City fan's blessing. And I hope he goes back to I'd love it if he goes back to Benfica.
Yeah.
I'd really like to see him go home and enjoy it.
If he gets a statue, I'd like a statue of him holding that cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Just turning away from the people looking at the statue with his cup of tea.
Yeah.
So you can't get a decent picture. He's always looking away.
At the start of every match, though, they put like a big block of dry ice in the cup, so it's actually got like.
They could have a little statue of John Stones on a lead, couldn't they? He could be holding
John Stones. John Stones hang out the back of a bronze ambulance.
Jews want to know how good Bernardo is, right? And this is like I always speak about this. You go back to the treble season. He had the likes of Mahrez, who I remember scoring an hat-trick against Sheffield United in the FA Cup semi-finals, and the next game after he was just benched yet again. And I mean, there was also other things that season what people forget. I was speaking to someone yesterday and said about Mahrez in his last season, and I said, I don't know if I believe like going along with this, because I remember Mahrez against Tottenham at home when I think we was losing, and I think Mahrez come on, or he might have been even starting. I can't remember. To be honest, but he come on and he just absolutely just changed the game, and he probably won it single on his hand, like on his own for us. To be honest, that game. But for Bernardo to keep the likes of them players out, I mean, Palmer was there at the time. I know Palmer didn't play much for us, but even like you look at that and Foden, and you know what I mean, you got to give credit for Bernardo, man. For me, This is what I've always agreed. Yeah, well, this is what I've always agreed with Rich on this. I've always agreed with Rich on this. For me, he's the most important player we've ever had under Pep. Best, maybe not. Maybe there's not a thing for that, but definitely the most important. And I mean, for what we've won.
I actually think he's the player who's understood Pep the most.
Yeah, well, I said that earlier on, Martin. I said that earlier on.
I think the other one who I think really understood Pep.
In terms of players who've fallen into that category, who would you say has been more important to the club, Bernardo Silva or David Silva?
That's like choosing between your kids.
Yeah, what are you doing here, Pat?
You can.
I'm not choosing between my kids.
You can't.
Do you mean for Pep?
It's a good one.
Do you mean for Pep, Pat, or do you mean for cities in general?
I just mean like modern day City, because I think David Silva is a technically gifted player, but Bernardo
I'm going to remove him. No, I'm removing him for that question. I'm going to remove you for that question. That's just disgusting.
Oh, it's a good question, Pat. But
it's not.
Yeah, not these players themselves, but I mean like their importance to the club and the respective periods that they played.
Well, David Silva never played left back, did he?
I'm sorry. El Mago is the greatest person to wear that shirt. I'm sorry. Me and Elliot have had this debate.
I'm just putting the conversation out there, and I agree with you.
He's equal, Martin, with Colin. Equal.
Let me put it this.
I didn't see Colin. I'm sorry, I'm not that old.
If KDB had the same injury record as Bernardo Silva, I would still pick David Silva as my favourite City player of all time.
Yeah.
There's probably is, as much as that question is a bad question, Pat, in like maybe a year, 2 years
It's a
time.
terrible question.
Yeah.
It's
Mm.
probably going to be an actual, and I know I might not know like this, but it probably will be an actual conversation what might be had. And you know what? If you, that is one of them questions, yeah, where me and Martin have this discussion, like you just said a lot, where I say KDB and he says David Silva, but it's one of them questions where there's not actually a right answer. Like both of the answers are correct.
There isn't.
Everybody's right in their own
You know
way.
what though? Do you know what though? Not being a bit of an old fart here. If when I really think about my favourite City players, they'd be players from before 2000, because I do think the players, even the David Silvas and Bernardo Silvas, are so remote from the fans and anything compared to the players when we were kids, that if I think of really favourite players, I'm not sure.
Creaney?
At the end of it, Creaney. I'm not sure.
Just before
any
you
of
carry
them
on,
are
Rich,
ever quite
JMC
as
did post this a bit earlier
in our
too. Was
hearts
today was 25 years since we lost David Rocky Rocastle.
Yeah. Can I just say, by the way, I don't know if anyone watched Andy's show the other night, obviously on Sunday, but Kevin Orlock just, that was, what a guy.
He is.
Yeah.
What a game. Yeah.
Great.
And also too, yesterday was happy 50th birthday to probably the greatest City player we've ever had, Mr. Bernardo Corradi as well.
Corradi.
You're begging to be removed, aren't you?
So happy 50th to the OG Bernardo.
Jesus.
Was that the
Bernardo
greatest
Corradi.
ever strike force we ever had? Bernardo Corradi and Giorgio Seminas. That was a pairing, wasn't it?
Seminas, Jesus.
And on that bombshell. Rich, who was your favourite though from that era then?
I don't know. I was just trying to think about favourite.
Steve Lomas.
I loved
Michelle Wong.
I loved Paul Lake.
Inga Britson.
The little we saw of Paul Lake, he was magnificent. I saw the end of Joe
Paul.
Corrigan. Corrigan was, he was amazing. The end of even someone like Paul Power, local lad, gave everything for the club. Would chat to the fans. I just think today's footballers are so remote that when I look back on my fondest City memories, I'm probably going to be looking back at 98, 99 and Brian Horton's side, when we had Walsh, Rossler and Quinn, and there was a magic then when football was a bit more normal that I just don't know that there is nowadays. And these great players are, unless you've done a pantomime at the City Social Club, I'm not sure you're really one of us. And I'm not sure I've ever seen.
You're saying when the game was a bit more suburban, Rich, because it was the same thing with the rugby league over here, where like you go and watch the players beat hell's bells out of each other, and then an hour later you'd be down at the leagues club and they're all just sinking piss.
To be fair, you can go down to the Ivanhoe and still see quite a few of the Manly boys out and about quite often. So,
you would be considering the shit start of the season they've had.
To be fair, I don't think they're particularly overpaid for the northern beaches. I think they're probably just living a fairly normal existence, unlike footballers.
Well, that's what Kevin said on the shows, doesn't he, Kevin? Them days have all gone. The things they got up to and all that, and there was no cameras and things like that. So,
thing is, could David Silva, David Silva, Bernardo Silva, and Kevin De Bruyne, could those three outdrink? Could they outdrink Howie and Richard Dunn, Mark Kennedy at the Griffin?
Halcyon days, mate. Jumpers for goalposts. It's all changed.
Yeah.
I remember days.
It's a different game. It's a different game.
I don't mind a bit of silverware.
But the Central League.
Another name for you guys too. Big memories as well, I'm sure, with James Stanage passing away.
James Stanage. I remember that growing up.
Oh, he was funny. Really funny.
Yeah, Simon just messaged me about that. Piccadilly legend.
Yeah.
He used to get some nutters on and he would just slag them off. You couldn't believe some of the stuff he said. I think it was like 11 o'clock in the night show on it. Something ridiculous like that.
Do you remember, James, am I getting the name wrong? Did he do the Bradshaws? Do you remember the Bradshaws?
Billy Bradshaw.
So, I think you're right. Governor.
Sorry, man. What have you done?
That's Stanage. Yeah.
I think was it Stanage that did the Bradshaws?
Yeah, I think it was.
Can I have a budgie?
Yeah, that was.
Can I have a budgie?
Yeah.
Now that is going back there, mate. The Bradshaws.
Obviously, I'm not familiar with this, but I can imagine late night radio in 1990s Manchester would have been incredible.
Brilliant.
They used to have the best one was James H. Reeve, who was a huge City fan.
Yeah, really.
And he did, in the mid 80s, I don't know, 84, 85,
do the
86,
prank
87.
shows.
He used to do that show every night, and I used to listen to James H. Reeve before crashing every night, and he was funny. He hated United as well. It was always.
He used to do a good show, Jim and the Doc, which is him and Tommy Docherty. I'm not a big fan of Doc.
Yeah,
but it was a great show. It was much better than any of the phone-ins you get, like the 606 podcast and all that. It was before that, and it was amazingly good. He had some stories, James H. Reeve.
Oh yeah. No, he used to do the a lot of time when I was a Junior Blue, and you'd go down. James H. Reeve hosted a lot of the Junior Blues on I think it was one Sunday a month down at the old social club.
Yeah.
And James H. Reeve would kind of host players coming along and meeting kids, and just it was just hilarious. Like the difference in the players then in the day.
Just for the welcome package they give you. When you
first that white silk scarf with the Junior Blues on it. Yeah.
Beautiful. Oh, Jimmy Wag.
I don't know whether you've. Sorry, lads. Just changing conversation a little bit. I don't know whether you've seen, but I think there's a new thing that's just been leaked about Mamouche's national manager, saying something about him playing in La Liga. I don't know whether you've seen that on, but he's come out and said something about Mamouche playing in La Liga. So I don't know whether he's got a little bit of a. So that looks like it might be another one. Yeah, well, exactly. There's a lot in there, man. I said this other day. I said I can't believe how many people might actually believe in this summer.
Yeah.
When you probably break it down and that, it's mental. But
the trouble is, I don't think a lot of them will be let go, Elliot, because there's not going to be. I don't know that people realise just how badly the world's economy is going to be hurting in a few months' time. We're in Australia. We've got about 2 weeks fuel left, and the country's, sleepwalking towards, a place where there's no fertilizer for the farms and there's no petrol or diesel in the country. And that's the whole world, basically you've got 25% of world oil offline. You've got 40% of world helium offline that makes chips. You've got, 30% of world nitrogen fertilizer offline. I don't think everyone just remotely realizes the mess we're in. So I don't think there's going to be clubs with 60 million to spend this summer, and I don't think we let Marmouche go for less than 60. I don't think we let Gonzalez go for less than 50 odd. I think Bernardo and Stones go because of their contract. Rodri, I suspect we'd respect enough as a club, even if I don't, that we'd let him go. But I think a lot of the other players might have to stay because there's not going to be the money in the game to allow them to leave. And
I suppose the thing is, which I don't know whether it's a lot of players what I've seen the way I've been linked to, a lot of them do play in the Prem. So I don't know whether City maybe have got a little bit of something to do with that, or whether they're looking at stuff like that. I mean, I've not seen anybody actually linked to us so far who was not playing in the Premier League. So I don't know whether that may be a thing what the club are looking at. Maybe I'm not too sure, but I know what you're saying, mate. But I don't know how that's going to impact the actual footballing world itself.
Yeah, I mean, it might mean we get players cheaper, but when you think of the amount of money the Gulf states have put into football, and the Gulf states' entire economic futures are on the line at the moment, they're on the line, and they can sustain it for a bit, but it's a scary time, and I do think that we're kind of not thinking about just the impacts that some of this stuff could have, and football will be one of them, because if the Gulf states won't be wasting money on fancy new footballers, and sponsorship deals go down, and some of the stuff that will happen if the economy goes like it could, money will be going out the game. And
could there be even a worse scenario talking about that? Like, they cut the losses and sell clubs.
I mean, I don't think they cut the losses. I think they do it at the maximum amount of time they could. But yeah, I mean, if you go through a massive period of economic stability and you need assets, then you know you are gonna So
if it carries on, yeah,
it
carries on.
The one thing we can be confident of is that the Glazers will not be selling. That's the good news to come out of it all.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
they'll never sell.
No.
I've got a wonder, lads, but I was going to just say one thing, and that is, hopefully we'll get past dirty Liverpool.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we play Southampton at some point in the next 2 rounds.
Would you play the same team?
Yes.
Yeah. Mate, you thought the same as me. I'll go over and a few others. Aki, has he got the pace to go up against Liverpool? Don't know.
Oh, you got to bring Gay back.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Then maybe that'll do us just one thing.
I've gone back, and we now Umaker. I stick with the same team. I don't think
Yusuf's got no confidence.
Right.
Well, a local Liverpool regular. Yeah. Big up.
To be honest, I'd do what we've done best in the last, you could say the last 6-7 years, of just play the same team now. Just play the same team now as to what's winning games.
To the end.
I get it. I get it. I get the thing of maybe put a Gay in because of the pace, stamps that. But no, for me, I play Ake. If Ake did well enough on Sunday, for me, he starts the game. If Ake then performs quite poorly, then Gay comes in, or Diaz comes back in and he plays well, Diaz deserves to start the next game.
There's a massive difference, though, Elliot. Like Liverpool, depending on who's playing for them, play very different football to Arsenal. Play with a lot of pace.
They do.
Arsenal have no pace up front, and they play set pieces. And Ake, funnily enough, I think is our best defender in the air. I think he's always been brilliant in the air, forward and back. So I think Ake, Arsenal was the perfect team to play for Ake.
That's why I thought
he can keep up with Gyökeres. Yeah. And he was great at the set pieces, whereas Liverpool are going to play with a lot more pace, a lot more running, a lot more fitness required. And I don't know that Ake can.
Is Salah that fast though now, Rich? Salah, he's got a turn. He's got well, yeah, there is that as well, Governor. But for me, no, I don't think.
O'Reilly will be on there.
Well, I don't. The thing is, ultimately, Rich, I know what you're saying about the Ake thing, but for me, I don't feel Liverpool's attack, and I don't feel any attack, because if you've got Kushnov at the back, for me, that's what he's there to do. He's there ultimately to cover. This is what we all said about Kyle Walker. We know we're not going to get a Kyle Walker who's going to probably be in the box and scoring goals, but it's the other way. It's the going the other side back, which we needed.
It's your insurance if you continue playing a high line. Simple.
Yeah, that's it, Pat. That's it. I just think ultimately, I think this is where maybe, if there's any maybe criticism on Pep, which obviously there is, I think this may be one of the things where Pep maybe have not. I think me and Governor spoke about this last time, where he's changing too many things when there's no need to change stuff. I mean, like the Shirky thing, that still baffles me now, because I watch Shirky in a game and I think, I thought you've had a good game. The next game he's dropped. The next game after that he's not playing. So I'm thinking, well, like what is the thinking behind that then, Pep? But like you say, you don't question Pep. Yeah. That Kushnov thing as well, Governor. I think we spoke about it last time.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
He's a genius, but he's a tinker man.
Well, like saying that, he's done all that.
That's what it is. That's exactly what it is.
He has chopped and changed the team, and we're still second. So, do you know what I mean? It sort of worked out in the end. But you know, I mean, you say keep the same team to the end of the season, but so would you put Donnarumma back in?
Well, what I'd do is I will keep Trafford in for the. I will keep Trafford in for the FA Cup game anyway.
The FA
Cup. That's a must, I think.
Do you think? I mean, one thing you could do is you could play Ake left back, put Nick O'Reilly back into midfield, because I think he had a good game. He was in midfield against Liverpool, wasn't he? Previously, had a good game against them.
He did.
So why not put Nico back into centre midfield, which I'd be tempted to do, and
because we're going to cancel out Szoboszlai, aren't we? He's the playmaker.
So who played against Liverpool at left back then? If O'Reilly played in midfield, or has my mind just gone a bit blank? Do you mean the home game or do you mean the away game, Rich?
The away game. The away game.
The away game. Yeah.
Nori.
Yeah, I think Nori. Yeah. I know he played the away game, but I was thinking back to the home game against them where we beat them 3-0. Was it? I was thinking more back to that game.
Left back then. O'Reilly probably played left back in that first game. Yeah.
Ash. Apparently, Foden's fine. Apparently, his injury's not serious.
Good.
That's the word that I've heard. Yeah. Martin, if you're there, you can jump back on too, mate. Martin just dropped out there for a bit. He had a loss of signal, but yeah. Look, as I said before, Yusuf's just coming to give his. Yeah, mate. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, Pat.
Yeah. You're right, all good, mate.
Yeah, no, I was just saying, it's nothing against the players like Gay, by the way, and Diaz and maybe Ford and maybe Mamouche, but ultimately we played well against Arsenal, and it was an argument for it. Was it his best performance of the season? People maybe say that. I mean, obviously we turned up well, and I think that there wasn't maybe any player I looked at and thought, you know what, you've had a bad game. I thought majority of the players played well. I thought Nunes were fantastic. I thought Aki was great. I thought O'Reilly played well. O'Reilly, obviously, his 2 goals alone speak for him, but no, for me, man, I don't think we should be doing that, because you ultimately look, Rich, back to the times when we've gone on a run, when we've picked up form. Again, I'm going back to it again, but I think Carl Walker said it in the interview I listened to. It was the players who was playing the games. They knew if they didn't turn up and they didn't perform, they wasn't then playing the next game. Now, obviously, I understand the squad depth isn't probably as good as what it was back then. I get that, but for me, that's not setting a good example for Eki to walk back into training maybe tomorrow or Thursday, and he's there in shape, and all of a sudden Pep goes, "Oh, by the way, Mark Gay, you're back in for Liverpool."
Well, but
for me, Eki must sit there and just think.
Elliot, Mark Gay was out because of a stupid rule in the cup.
The EFL,
not because he was out. Mark Gay would have started that game. Mark Gay was starting that game. He got dropped because of a stupid rule. I don't think you lose your place in the team because.
The two games previous, which I think people are, and this is where I'm quite fair with it, because I think Mark spoke about this before. For me, the 2 games before that, though, there's different energies shown for different players, because Mark Gay in the last 2 games previous to that, for me, had stinkers. I think the one was against West Ham and the other one was against Real Madrid away from home, if you remember the first leg. And for me, he didn't play well in any of them 2 games. Now for me, if that was Ruben Diaz, by the way, for me, I wouldn't be starting Diaz, so I'm just going to throw it out there first. But for me, if that's Ruben Diaz in that moment, what Gay was in, there's a different energy shown to Ruben Diaz. But because it's Mark Gay who's a new player, and because we've got to gaslight him up and we're going to make him this best thing ever, it's sort of a different perspective on it. That's where we have got to be a little bit. That's where criticism. Yeah, that's it, Pat. That's it. That's where I see it. Ultimately, I just think, and look, Aki's going to probably leave. Well, he is probably going to leave. Yeah, definitely will. Yeah. The rumours, but. For me, you don't drop Aki now. You say to Aki, right, you played well enough, now go and do it again. If you don't play well, you know someone else is going to come in and take your place. Diaz, Cushion, Mark Gay, whether that's somebody else. I don't know. Maybe it's John Stones. Maybe, you know what I mean? It's.
Yeah, I agree with you to a certain point. But if Aki is having a stinker, you can always bring Gay on. Like, you don't have to play 90 minutes.
Yeah. Do
you know what I mean?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. No player does, to be fair, Governor. No player should be playing 90 minutes. For me, if Ryan Chicks is having a good game and he's losing the ball too much and he's doing too much and he's just losing possession all the time, you take Turkey off. You know what I mean? If Holland's not doing his job up front enough, for me, you put Mamouche on. For me, there's always a solution, but I think maybe the solutions this season for Pep maybe have been a little bit too late or maybe a bit too slow. Maybe he's not put the right team. Yeah, maybe that there's been certain games where he probably should have played like a Semenyo as a winger, not as a 10. There's loads of stuff what you can pick out. But look, ultimately, for all the bad what Pep's done, look how much good he's done for us. So that, for me, that's just a ludicrous argument when people use that against him anyway. So.
Yeah, I think where I slightly disagree with you, Elliot, is I think you play different players for different teams. Liverpool are the absolute opposite of Arsenal. Liverpool going forward are probably better than Arsenal, especially when they got players fit. But defensively, they've been embarrassing this season. Quicker, so we're not going to be able to play at Liverpool by doing what we did against Arsenal, because if Liverpool put the ball over the top like Arsenal couldn't because they had no pace, and they've got their players playing, it's just.
So you tell me who you're worried about, Rich. You obviously know. You obviously just touched on it then. But for me, I'm worried about one attack for Liverpool, and that's Ekatike. The rest I don't rate.
Yeah,
I don't think Cody Gakpo's. I don't think Cody Gakpo's good enough. I think that Rio lad's looks a good player, but Slot's not trusting him.
Yeah, I don't
Salah,
think
his legs have gone. His legs have gone. I know. He's still got. He's still got like, probably a little bit of a magic moment. But for me, I don't fear Mo Salah anymore when I play against Liverpool like I used to. I don't think there's no need to change. I'd understand it. Look, I'd understand it if the point of view of a prime Liverpool, and maybe we're in a situation now with City, what we've got with the squad at the minute. I'd understand that side of it. But for me, I don't look at Liverpool's attacking line and go, for example, which I'll give another example, which I like, maybe a very good one at the minute, Bayern Munich. If we were playing Bayern Munich on Saturday and not Liverpool, I'd be like, yeah, I'm fully with you. Take Aki out with a pace of Elise, Diaz and Kane dropping in the pocket. I'd understand that. But I don't look at Liverpool in that way and fear him that sort of way. And maybe that's just me, but...
No, you might be right.
I agree with Teal, though. Yeah, I agree with Teal putting O'Reilly in the middle. We've got to lock that midfield. In the middle, we've got to lock.
Well, Liverpool haven't got.
Well, that's an interesting one, isn't it? That's an interesting one. Who do you play midfield? Say again, Martin, you're breaking up then.
Yeah, I'm sorry, they haven't got Ekatike. Ekatike's out.
Yeah.
Is he injured?
So you're probably going to go with Salah. Yeah, you're probably going to go with Salah, aren't you? But this is Salah's farewell tour now, isn't it? So.
Yeah, I mean, Salah's still got that moment of brilliance. I've just said that myself. Like, just going back to it with De Bruyne when I said that Crystal Palace.
We all know this. Nathan Ake is the one who's locked Salah up most times we've played him.
True, actually. It's one thing. It's one thing we get about Ake is that on many occasions he's locked up Salah, and he's obviously had Saka in his back pocket as well too.
But I agree with Elliot to an extent that does Kushinov doesn't deserve to be dropped. And just
I don't think
because
any of them Martin. I don't think any of them do, Martin. I don't think any of them do. Barring Donnarumma. I don't think that there's no need to change anybody.
Don't get me started on the Donnarumma stuff. The Donnarumma stuff's got stupid.
It's getting. That's outrageous.
Morons in it, in my opinion. But no, I don't. I understand what Rich is saying, but I don't. What it is, I don't think that's what we've been good at. So I don't understand why we go against that. And this is another thing where I haven't said this on air or to anyone. I think ultimately, Pep's biggest problem this season, yet again, which maybe a bit like last season, was it's probably on him a lot of stuff. Like you look at the situation with the style of play. It's gone too far the other way. He's looked at Arteta. He's looked at Sean Dyche. He's looked at Ange Postecoglou, Ange at Tottenham. He's looked at Arne Slot at Liverpool. He's tried changing to make the narrative against other people. When really, if he just stuck to his own narrative as to what he believes in, which Enrique has done, which company's done, you've seen the beneficials of them teams, and that's why I ultimately think you look at the game on Sunday. Last Sunday against Arsenal in the final, we played very, very similar to how we would have played any other season, where the ball was on the floor a lot. We pressed them quite high. We didn't probably let them out. We had the centre half had the ball majority of the time. They're just passing it like side to side. We've done that to Arsenal in the treble season when we played our style of football, and that's how we played. I think too much this season, and I think me and Governor touched on this last time. We're booting the ball to Haaland. Haaland can't win the ball, and then all of a sudden, the possession's getting turned back on to us. Well, that's not what Pep's have been around. And I get there's a need to change, but I think he's changed it too much. And that's that is my honest answer on it. And that's where I don't think there isn't a need to change the team like Rich was saying. I understand it, and I get where Rich is coming from, but no, for me, I don't change. Don't change something. What's not broken is what I'd say.
Yeah,
by the way, I'm not dropping Donnarumma. No, sorry, I'm not dropping Trafford. Trafford's playing against Liverpool, 100%. I agree with that.
Yeah.
But this, I mean, you said it earlier. I think the silliness of, I've heard people say sell Donnarumma. It's like we're the only fans at the minute who beg for a shot stopper, get a shot stopper. He makes one error. Now we've got him out the door again. Yeah. It's like, nah, can we go back? And I'm like, but you all wanted a shot stopping goal there.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
And so it's just crazy. It's like the thing. I don't want possession-based football. It's slow. I want to go to transition. So if we do that, then somewhat I'll go back to possession. And it's like, this is why I love this game, because it's all opinions in it, and we all flip-flop all over the gaff.
Yeah.
No, Trafford's a start. Definitely. I put O'Reilly, Rodri, Bernardo, middle. That'd be my midfield.
Yeah, I could probably do that too. Looks like some of us are starting to drop, actually. Rich had to go because his internet's dropping, and Mako had to go too because it's it's a bit after 11 o'clock here now. So yeah, I'm sure they've all got stuff to do before Easter anyway. But Martin, how are we looking for the rest of this week?
Tonight, three black and white Irons, Oil Brothers. I think a certain Italian may get mentioned during the show.
Yeah.
I'm sure a certain Italian midfielder will get mentioned. I've heard there's some good Italian restaurants in Manchester, you know.
But what's the one all the players go to on Deansgate, San Carlos or something?
Oh, you got to go for a bit of piccolinos. A little bit of piccolinos, Pat.
Yeah, no, I'm more of a San Carlos man myself.
I'm cheap.
Yeah. No, actually, you know what? I don't go to San Carlos. I go to Ben Brazil, the churrasco next door.
Oh, I wasn't into that.
Across the street. It's really, it's a proper rodizio. It's proper rodizio as well. Yeah.
I'm not into hearts and liver and all that. Nah. You're all right.
You don't have to eat the chicken hearts. Just wait until the bloody picanha and all that come around.
I know, but then I'm sat there with a bloody empty plate looking like a right numpty.
We'll ask them to come around. We'll just keep your green card up and they'll come around more regularly.
I think
next time I'm over, I'll take you there. I'll show you how to do it properly.
I'd be surprised if he comes in the Premier League. I thought he was going to go back to Italy.
I think he will eventually. The problem with
Donnarumma
it's the economics in that because an Italian team may be able to wrangle up the money to get a transfer fee for him, but then are they going to pay the wages?
Well, I don't even think they've got the fee.
No, I'm just of the thought that I think Donnarumma, if Donnarumma will just, I don't know how long he's here for, 4 years or something. I think he'll just stay here until the end of his contract, and he'll go for free. He'll go for free to Italy.
You have to put a bid in, it's just rumours. Do you know what I mean?
They'll lowball it. They'll do like what Milan did with try to do with Bernardo Silva about 4 or 5 years ago, where they said, 45 million, and we'll pay it in 15 million euro installments over 3 years or something, which is just ridiculous. Like, it was like around that time we were just getting the first payments from Barcelona for Ferran Torres. So it's like a team as cash strapped as Barcelona's doing that. The last thing we're going to do is allow another club to do it to us. So,
and I think with Forest not going down now, Anderson will be a price. He won't be cut price now, will he?
Anderson's price is going up and up and up because of all this bloody noise around him at the minute.
Yeah. The fact that knocking on the door as well.
Marinakis is sat there with his hands going, "Oh, I've got bidding wars all over the gaff here. There I go." Yeah, this is. I think Viana's going to have to get his negotiation tactics out. But no, we had 3 black and white eyes, and then we're back 9 p.m. No, tomorrow, stateside, where we're going to wax lyrical about Bernardo, talk about Liverpool. Thursday, we're back. Thursday night chat, 9 p.m. Is it 9 p.m.? Did we say 9 p.m.?
I think you said 9:30 because 9 p.m. 9 p.m. was this.
9:30.
So I think it's half 9 for you, yeah.
Yeah, because obviously the clocks have changed now. And then Friday, I don't think there was anything. There's not 9 minutes for told. That's the week after. Yeah. And that's it. But then during the week, we're going to do a watch along for the next women's one, and we're going to do a watch along for the under 18s FA Cup Youth semi-final against Blackburn as well.
Good,
very good, mate. Happy days. Well,
loads are coming up.
Yeah. So That's all good. Governor, do you have anything else in closing before we wrap up?
No, that's it. Just want to. Can't wait for the Liverpool game. It's a great time for us. It'll be 9:30 here.
Yeah, we're looking forward to a nice little Saturday night out. Should be good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, happy days.
I'm getting up early to go to that one. Sorry. Bastards.
What? Setting the alarm for half 8
What?
instead of half 9.
It's my other half's birthday as well, then, on that day as well.
All right. So you're going to take her out for a nice day at the Etihad?
I'm going to take her out for a day at the Etihad, yeah.
Figured as much. Well, in case it's a bit of a night out, you got the hotel on site, so it's easy.
Whoa. I'm not paying
No,
for
I
it.
mean, if you're having a night out, you just don't fancy going.
I've got a perfectly good house, like 5 minutes up the road.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just thinking what's convenient for you.
I had a mate who did that. Him and his missus went for a night out in Manchester and they booked a hotel. I said, why? It's only 10 minutes on the train back up. Paying for a bloody hotel for you, genius.
You could take an Uber. You could take an Uber Black from their house to the city and back. It would still cost a quarter of what the price of the hotel would be.
I don't get it. Things that be romantic. Well, sorry, that might be romantic. I'm what you call cheap.
Yeah. Well.
Oh dear. All right, guys. Well, look, we'll wrap it up anyway. Because we've just gone a bit over 2 hours, which is a bit of a marathon for Blues Down Under. As mentioned before,
can you smash those thumbs up before you go?
Yeah, get the thumbs up. Thank you, guys.
Hype it up. Hype.
Yep.
Sky.
Hype it up. 115 it up. You know
whatever.
You know it is. We've got to always get these shows to 115 likes. So
just before we get these 60 post deductions. Little update. Sorry, I forgot while I said this. I have spoke to Stefan again. He's currently away at the moment, so we were trying to get him on today or yesterday to come and talk about this 60-point deduction and have a good old laugh. But we're going to get him on start of April, hopefully.
Brilliant.
Well, looking forward to that. So that's good. Because I'd love to hear. Actually, do you know what? I think every international break until 115 gets announced, Mark, we should always just have Stefan on standby and just say, have you heard it this week? When are you free to come on?
Do you know what? I was only talking by DMs, but I think he just laughs now when he hears all this crap.
He must, yeah.
He's like,
he probably
all time
the entertainment is gonna, because of the entertainment factor of it. Yeah,
it's like they've signed NDAs, but some journo in Colombia knows all about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, of course you do.
Yeah. Well, anyway. Thanks for another great show, everybody. Everybody was involved. Fantastic in the chat as well, too. Thanks for everybody for your insights. And, I'm just like you. I'm glad international break's over. I think that's the last one for the season as well. So this is the final stretch.
Sorry, can I just cover Blue Art's comment? Stick it up, the buyback thing.
Hey?
The let's hope City can keep. He was responding to City out trying to City what buyback, yes.
Yeah, because we just don't know what's happening with Donnarumma anyway, or what may happen with Donnarumma in the future. So we'll see what happens anyway.
Not saying we'll get one, but it's something they would like.
Yeah, true. So that's it, guys. Thanks for another episode of Blues Down Under. As mentioned, Martin will be back with Black and White Eyes in a few hours' time.
You coming on that?
Hey,
you coming on that?
Am I?
No, I'm asking you want to come on.
It depends what time Baz wants to start.
I'll be listening.
I might be up early enough. We'll see what happens.
We're going to make sure we're trying to keep you off the milk cartons.
Well, I've proved that to you the last couple of weeks, haven't I? What are we doing?
No. Listen, your appearance bonds are going up and up at the moment.
You're going to do something about those appearance fees.
Yeah. Thunder Road, dirty boy.
All right. Good night, everyone. Thank you so much for being a part of the show again. We'll look forward to seeing you probably same time next week. As I said, Martin said, as Martin said, keep an eye out for those shows for the rest of the week. Let me close out the bloody show, Martin. Piss off.
You say same time next week. This show's never on every week in a minute.
I'm just trying to be optimistic for the good folks out there, anyway. So thanks for cutting that tree down. Yeah, thanks for getting your axe out and cutting down that log, bloody idiot.
Sorry, I'm doing this. I'm doing this on purpose now because I know he's trying to end the show, and I'm just having a bit of fun. So,
thanks to everybody who was involved. Obviously, Martin's told you all the shows look forward to the rest of the week. We look forward to the weekend. Hopefully, we'll battle Liverpool, get to that semi-final. Martin wants to do another trip to Wembley because we all know he's just going to rub it in our face.
Not again.
Always a pleasure. Never a chore. Don't forget to like and subscribe on the way out. Thanks to everybody for being a part of it. Always and forever. Up the Blues. Come on, City. Good night.